Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Get there fast. Leave even faster.
Welcome to Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Blue Jays are back here again. Seems like we were just here yesterday, and this will be the third series between these two AL East rivals this season. Francisco Liriano made his first start of the season here back in April. He's looking to redeem himself here in this ballpark, John Gibbons Ball Club. They lost 2 of 3 to the Yankees in New York. Here's a look at the lineup. Pilar, Bautista, Martin, and then down in the cleanup spot, Kendrys Morales. And look at these numbers. 591. That is not a typo, folks. He's 13 for 22, and he's done some major damage. 4 doubles and 2 home runs, plus 6 RBIs. And Steve Pearce, boy, he is starting to swing it. This is what the Blue Jays expected when they signed Steve Pearce. Over his last 6 games, he has 3 home runs and 5 RBIs, but they're in tough tonight against Chris Archer.
Tampa Bay is going to open up this series with a very familiar face. Third series of the season, like you said, Buck. Third time that the Blue Jays are going to face Chris Archer. 7th start of the year for Archer. He's had a decision in only 3 of his starts. He's 2-1 with a .343 earned run average. His last start was against the Blue Jays on Sunday at the Rogers Center. He pitched into the 8th inning and he left with a 1-0 lead, but his bullpen gave it up again. The Blue Jays won that game 3-1. He has been tough on the Jays, boys. 7 straight starts of 2 earned runs or less against them, including 2 already this season, but he doesn't have a win against the Jays this year.
They know that he's got a wipeout slider. Everybody's going to try to focus on that, force him to throw it over the plate, not chase that ball off the plate away.
I thought the Jays did a very good job of making him come into the strike zone in that start back at the Rogers Center. You only had 5 strikeouts pitching into the 8th inning.
Kevin Pillar batting .302 for the season. He is set. Archer with the first pitch of the ball game. It's on the outside corner for a strike, and we are underway. Kevin Pillar, 8 doubles, a triple, and 4 homers so far this season.
Well, he wanted to be the leadoff hitter, and he has really taken to that. Almost a .350 on base percentage. And he has had some great at-bats.
Little flare into center, long run, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Pillar makes the turn. Kiermaier stays on it, and he has a leadoff single. Kevin Pillar stays hot. Defensively, the Rays as a team have committed 17 errors this season. In the outfield, Peter Borges makes his 9th start in left. Kiermaier and Souza in center and right. Evan Longoria is at third, Beckham and Robertson up the middle. Ricky Weeks Jr. makes his 10th start at first base. And Derek Norris behind the plate. He's doing the catching this evening for Chris Archer.
And the Rays are very happy to see this man back at his familiar position at third base. This is his first start at third base since that start we were talking about back at Rogers Center last Sunday. He's been battling some plantar fasciitis. He did not play the first 2 games against Miami, and he DH'd on Wednesday and Thursday. First start at third base since last Sunday.
Here is Jose Bautista batting in the 2 spot. Fastball up and in. The last time these two faced each other to start the game, Archer threw one behind Bautista. Nobody really knows for sure, but the speculation is it was a reaction to Joe Biagini hitting Steven Souza Jr. the night before.
Jose ended up having a great game that day. He had a single on the big double late in the game against Archer. I think those kind of things fire Jose up.
Archer left with the lead, and Bautista tied it up on a double off Alex Colomé. That's the best kind of payback you can have.
Yeah. Give him a no decision.
Ball and a strike to Bautista. There's that nasty slider right on the outside corner. Derek Norris has not thrown the ball particularly well this season from behind the plate. He's caught just 1 of 13 base stealers. And the Blue Jays, with Archer on the mound, know that he's going to be tough to score on, so maybe Pillar looks for an opportunity to steal.
They don't have a lot of speed options in their lineup. Pillar's got 3 stolen bases. Travis has 2. The last thing you want to do is you don't want to get a guy on like they have and then have him thrown out on the bases with Bautista, Martin, and Morales coming up in the first inning. So if you pick the pitch to go on, try and pick on a breaking ball. Give yourself a little bit more time to get to second base.
Not running. Bautista went around. That slider tough to lay off of. Bautista strikes out. Archer's got that wipeout slider.
You know what we noticed about Archer in that start back at Rogers Center, how composed and under control he was when he was throwing that slider. At times he gets a little bit too quick and he tries to overthrow that slider and he's out of the strike zone. That time it's very deliberate, very slow, kept his body under control, threw a good pitch.
One away, Russell Martin, the catcher, batting third. Martin at an even 200. He is 3 for 23 against Chris Archer, going head to head with the big right-hander. He has hit a home run against Archer. Couple of fastballs he missed. It's 2-0.
You know, all these right-handed batters that have come up for the Blue Jays, the outfield, don't think they're going to pull Archer. Kevin Kiermaier, the great center fielder, shading him into right field. There's a gigantic gap into left center field. If Martin can catch one of these out in front, that would be enough to score Pilar.
That's a borderline strike. Cut the inside corner, about a letter high. Archer last year had 233 strikeouts for the season. 152 of those strikeouts came on the slider.
On the slider, it's a great finishing pitch. That's why we were talking about in the opening, you want to get to him early and get to that fastball before you get to 2 strikes.
Ground ball to short. Beckham goes to second for 1. Back to first, double play. So Archer gives up a leadoff single to Kevin Pilar. Russell Martin bounces into the double play. Top half of the first. A's lineup for the manager Kevin Cash tonight. Tim Beckham out at the top of the order, and he's been swinging a hot bat over his last 13 games. He has 17 hits, including 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. And Steven Souza Jr. He's in the cleanup spot now. We've seen him bat first in this lineup, and he has worn out the Blue Jays. They've got to come up with a new game plan. He's 9 for 20 with 3 doubles and a home run already against the Blue Jays this season, and he's off to a great start, batting .296 overall.
Yeah, and about 1,200 feet of line drives against the Blue Jays this year. They will face Francisco Liriano, who got the win in his last outing, which was against Tampa Bay. He only threw 5 innings. He gave up 4 hits, a run, but the Rays worked him for 4 walks. As it took Francisco 99 pitches to complete 5 innings. The win snapped a streak of 9 straight starts without a win versus the Rays. For his career, Francisco Liriano's 3-3 in 11 starts, holding them to a .251 batting average. That includes his first start of the year, where he was only able to throw 1/3 of an inning.
That was a very much of a surprise start for Liriano, given the fact he had such a good spring and he came into that game with such high expectations. He only got 1 out. Different story now for Liriano. He's thrown the ball very well over his last 4. Tim Beckham steps in. Waves at that first pitch. They've been waiting on Beckham a long time. He's a first overall pick of the Rays. He was drafted out of Georgia in a small town high school. And he's got a lot of ability, but now he's starting to show some signs that maybe he's finally figured out how to hit the big leagues.
Starting to show some power, too. Hit a couple of home runs twice now. I don't know. Maybe it was the shoes. He's got those shoes on. Kevin Cash, the manager, was joking with him yesterday, saying, hey, man, if you're going to wear these shoes, you better do something. And he went out and hit 2 home runs yesterday.
Yeah, you got to be a player to wear those kind of shoes. You know, if you're hitting 200 and you wear those shoes, they'll dog you.
Yeah.
But if you're putting up good numbers, you can wear anything you want.
You can do anything you want. He is doing a great job. Twice now he's had multiple home runs games.
In the span of 7 games, he has really turned things on. He had his first 2 home run game on the 26th at Baltimore against the Orioles. 0-2 pitch. It's downstairs. That looked like a changeup. Kind of handcuffed Russell Martin.
Well, in that start that we were just talking about with Liriano, he had a great slider. He had a great changeup. But there was a lot of patience on the Rays hitters. They lead Major League Baseball in walks with 126, and they coaxed 4 out of Liriano in that start.
That's always been his MO. Liriano with such great movement on all of his pitches that sometimes the command of the strike zone just leaves him for spurts during games, and he'll get it back from time to time.
And unfortunately, it just takes him too long, and he can't go very deep into games this year.
Beckham helps him out. He chased another ball up and away. Strikeout for Liriano. 1 down. The Blue Jays defensively, they've been charged with 18 errors on the season. Steve Pearce gets another start in left field. Pilar has played every game in center. Jose Bautista's in right. On the infield, it's Coughlin, Goins, Travis, and Smoke from third to first. Behind the plate, Russell Martin making his 21st start. He's doing the catching for Liriano.
You know, and you mentioned the outfield and Bautista. He is throwing so much better this year. He's played the 3rd most innings in the outfield in the American League. He leads American League in outfield assists with 3. Throwing better, moving better. He's getting rid of the ball quickly, and he's always been accurate. But this year, guys are trying to run on him, and Jose is starting to shoot him down.
The Blue Jays have 7 outfield assists. That ties them with the Phillies for the top spot in the major leagues in outfield assists. But you're right, and you talked to Jose about his baseball workout this past offseason. Now finally he was healthy enough where he could focus on that.
He had the bad shoulder. The shoulder was bothering him, and he was able to work out this year and strengthen that arm. And tell you what, it is showing early on this year. He is throwing like he did a couple of years ago.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Kiermaier, this center fielder. There's that slider. It's way outside. Full count. Kiermaier and Kevin Pilar, the 2 center fielders in this series. Both are late round draft picks. Kiermaier, 31st round pick. Pilar, 32nd round pick. They both beat the odds.
They both play the game the right way. That's the first thing you notice when you see these 2 guys play. They both play the game the right way, and they're very talented.
The profiles are very similar. Neither signed out of high school. They both went to small colleges and played baseball, and still they didn't garner much attention, but something in the scouts saw them that said, you know what, these guys are baseball players, and they'll figure it out.
You know what they are, Buck? They're athletes. They're athletes that played other sports, and it just took them a while to develop as baseball players.
That's a fair ball. Past Coughlin. Longoria around first. He's headed for second, and he jumps on that first pitch from Liriano for a 2-out double. Well, Pat, you mentioned Longoria had been out of the lineup defensively because of plantar fasciitis, and that's a very painful injury. It robs him of a lot of flexibility, but he got around the bases in pretty good shape there.
Yeah, but as he had to slow down and get into second base, it looked like he was really favoring that foot. He's been in a little bit of a struggle offensively. Picks on the first pitch from Liriano, rifles it by Coughlin down into the corner. It's going to go for extra bases, but as he pulled up the second base, you can see that he's still favoring it just a little bit. What a gamer.
Well, he's a baseball player. What you do as a baseball player, you play. 2 outs now for Steven Souza Jr.
Well, I guess it doesn't help that you play on turf. Here's the ISO as that ball goes down the line. Running is fine. It's the stopping and the slowing down. You see as he gets into the bag, just a hint of a little pain.
Way outside. 1-1 to Steven Souza Jr. He mentioned his numbers this season against the Blue Jays. He's 9 for 20 with a home run and 6 RBIs. That's a .450 average. Blue Jays have done their part of net .296 batting average.
They haven't figured him out. This is a guy who hit .215 at home last year. Here at this ballpark, much better this year.
Souza had hip surgery in September, and he came back and gotten off to a great start. You can see he's been productive in these situations. 407 with runners in scoring position, and there are 2 outs now.
He's changed his stroke with 2 strikes. Not trying to power the ball with 2 strikes, slows everything down.
Souza had a couple of conversations with some teammates at the end of last season, and he's a very intense guy. He plays the game hard, which is wonderful, but sometimes he's too hard on himself, too tightly wrapped. And they said, hey, man, you've got some skills. Just trust your skills and let the game come to you. And I think that's helped him relax and perform with 2 strikes especially.
It's a good take right there. That happens with young players, doesn't it? I mean, they care. They want to do well. So you try too hard. But baseball is a game. The harder you try, the worse you are. You have to try easy. You got to slow things down just a little bit.
Liriano loses Souza. A 2-out walk. Now it's first and second.
Take a little closer look at tonight's starter for the Blue Jays, Francisco Liriano, and what is he going to feature? He's basically a 3-pitch pitcher. All 3 of his pitches are above average, and when he's throwing them all for strikes, he can be awfully tough. You get the fastball, the slider, the changeup. In that last start against the Tampa Bay Rays, his slider was very good, his changeup was very good. They had 6 strikeouts and gave up just 1 earned run in 5 innings against Tampa Bay. And when he's got all 3 of those things working, that's when you're going to get those big strikeout totals.
That walk for Tampa Bay, their 127th walk of the season. They're first in the American League in that department.
They're an interesting team, the Tampa Bay Rays. They also lead the major leagues in strikeouts.
298 with Beckham's strikeout this inning. First pitch is outside to Corey Dickerson. Dickerson has hit a lot from the leadoff spot this season. They've dropped him down into the order to take advantage of that .324 batting average. See if he can't drive in a few more runs.
Well, he's using the whole field just a little bit better this year, and he's really improved against left-handed pitching this season.
Ground ball. This should end the inning. Smoke grabs it, steps on the bag, and it does. So the Rays get a 2-out double and a walk. They strand a pair. No score after 1 here in St. Pete.
In advance of this series, Matt Latos designated for assignment, and so Sunday's starter will be Joe Biagini, getting the ball for the first time as a starter since 2015 when he was in the minor leagues with the San Francisco organization. Now, John Gibbons said he'd be pleased if Biagini can give the team 4 innings. His pitch count will be a max of 60 on Sunday. Biagini told me he will try and keep his routine as similar as he can to his regular bullpen duties the next couple of days. No side session, but we'll study the Rays lineup a little more. Now, starting has been the goal, Biagini admitted, and he said he's, quote, intrigued to see if I can do it, if it translates, if I can maintain. Biagini said he has to keep reminding himself to plan for a more extended outing and not to overexert himself in the first inning on Sunday, guys.
That's great stuff, Arash, and it is a transition, but it's not like they've asked Biagini to fly the charter home. He's going to pitch.
It's pitching.
Let's give him a chance to pitch. He's a big, strong guy, and you know what are your options? I like this option better than any of the other options that they were considering. Start Biagini. He's always been a starter, and you transition him. And I know that he is valuable in that bullpen, but somebody else can have to step up and fill his shoes because you've had injuries. And when you have injuries, you have to make unusual decisions, but I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's going to throw a shutout or no-hitter right out of the chute, but I think over the long haul, he's going to be a very good starter.
He just has a little bit different view right now of the ball game, doesn't he?
I tell you what, that's going to be the biggest challenge for his teammates is Joe Biagini on the bench for 4 days. Normally he's down in that bullpen, but now he's going to be sitting there bugging everybody else for the next 4 days.
Well, he's got a whole new cast of people he can tell all his stories and have a lot of fun with, right? Yeah, he'll be fine. You know, you got to cover his 1 or 2 innings in the bullpen compared to 4 or 5 as a starter.
Hendrys Morales waves at that outside pitch and strikes out.
Well, let's take a little closer look at what Chris Archer's going to feature tonight. And like Francisco Liriano, he's basically a 3-pitch pitcher, but he only uses 2 of them. Fastball, slider. You can see a fastball 49% of the time, slider 47% of the time, and an occasional changeup every now and then just 4% of the time. It's the slider that he throws with 2 strikes. Batter's hitting just 188 against that this year. Tell you what, there's a simple remedy for that. Don't get the 2 strikes.
Yeah, get a good pitch to hit, and that's what they always used to tell you. How do you hit the slider? You don't miss the fastball. Just like that, Smokey got a good fastball to hit right there. Justin Smoke, this season against Tampa Bay, he's 7 for 26 with a home run. He's actually had a little success against Archer. 8 for 30 with a home run against the right-hander. They got another hittable pitch right there, right out over the plate.
Well, I like what I'm seeing from Justin Smoke right now. He looks confident at the plate. He's swinging early. Pitchers are trying to attack him, and he's waiting for him. Got a nice little streak going over his last 5 games, hitting nearly 370.
Smoke last year hit 217 for the Blue Jays. He didn't have as many at-bats as he had the previous season. In 2015, he had a career 132 games played and set a personal high with 59 RBIs. They'd like to have that type of production from him.
Well, last year, remember, he was always the odd man out because of injuries. And if they wanted to rest guys who were coming back from injuries, they would DH. And Edwin would play first base, and Smokey was the guy who was left off the starting lineup.
Yeah, when Bautista was injured, playing banged up a little bit, he would have to DH, and Smoke lost that opportunity.
Josh Donaldson had some games last year with his leg problems that didn't allow him to get out on the field, so he would DH, and then Edwin would play first, and Justin would miss games.
2-2 pitch. High fly ball to left. Borges backing up at the track, at the wall. He's there just in front of the wall to make the catch. Smoke gave it a ride, just fell a little bit short.
You know what he's doing? He's not trying to pull that curveball, that breaking ball. When it's away like that, instead of getting it too quick, in getting out there and swinging through it. He's letting it travel just a little bit more. What's the reaction from Chris Archer? He thought he got it and then said, oh goodness, it's going to stay in the ballpark.
Yeah, he knew he got away with one right there. It was a little bit too high, and Smoke drove it the other way. Well, here is Steve Pearce, and what a stop he had in New York. Tuesday night he went 4 for 4 with a single, 2 home runs and a double. Goes after this first pitch and hits it down the right side. Souza will run out of room. Up against the wall as it was slicing away from him the whole way.
That looked like that ball was going to stay fair. It just kept drifting away from Souza. Pearce is a little bit more aggressive too, starting in New York.
Well, Pearce did not play in the first game. That was Luis Severino starting. In the second game, he started against Tanaka. John Gibbons had a notion he wanted to try to get him going a little bit before he faced CC Sabathia on Wednesday. He looked like a genius when Pearce came up with a 4 for 4 game and hit 2 home runs
against one of the toughest right-handers in the American League.
Pearce did something that hasn't happened before against the Yankees. He got 5 straight hits in his first 5 at-bats of the season and hit 3 home runs. No one had ever done that against the Yankees. 0-2, 2 outs. He lays off that slider. That's really interesting because so many players have played against the Yankees, but this game there's always going to be somebody that does something that's never happened before.
Yeah, and anything against the Yankees is pretty impressive.
That's a good take. Boy, that ball looked like it was fighting to get to the outside corner, but it broke off the plate away.
You know, when you see hitters start to take those tough pitches like that, you're seeing the ball. Seeing the ball just a little bit better. 2 weeks ago, that's a strikeout. Right now, Steve is seeing that ball. He is right on top of the plate now.
Archer gets that one called in his favor. Another slider down and away. A couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 second for Archer.
And enter the code MBJ2678 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Code must be entered by 4 a.m. and you can look for a new code tomorrow. Buck.
Thank you very much. And is the case wherever the Blue Jays go. Lots of Blue Jay fans here in attendance tonight. Once again, they really follow their team and support them well on the road as well as at home at Rogers Center. Pre-game weekend series here tomorrow afternoon. An unusual start time, 4 p.m. local time. 3:30 pregame show, so make sure you check that out with Jamie and Greg. And then Sunday, a normal 1 o'clock start with the pregame show at 12:30.
And then back home for a long homestand.
The Edwin Encarnacion Welcome Home series. The Cleveland Indians will be in first.
You know, they were talking, you're talking about the pitching rotation that the Blue Jays are going to have. Biagini's going to throw Sunday. John Gibbons was saying today Marcus Stroman is going to throw on Monday if he is okay. And all indications today was that Marcus was going to be fine and he was going to be able to make that start on Monday. Then they have to go down to Buffalo and find a starter for Tuesday against the Indians. And I bet you it's going to be a left-hander.
Yeah, the Indians lineup would suggest that might be the right choice. Weeks hits it to third. Coppin throws him out. One away. Yeah, the Indians, they have a wicked lineup, and you'd like to throw a left-hander against them if you had one. T.J. House is throwing the ball well down in Buffalo. AAA, he was with the Blue Jays in the spring. But who knows? There might be another couple of pitchers in the organization by then. The Blue Jays have picked up 2 in the last couple of days. Neil Ramirez is here in the bullpen tonight. He was claimed off of waivers from the San Francisco Giants.
There's Neil.
You get a chance to talk with him about joining the Blue Jays.
Yeah, very excited getting a chance to pitch here. Been a starter down in the minor leagues and will pitch out of the bullpen.
Daniel Robertson, he's been a super utility player for the Rays. He's making his 4th start at second. He started 6 games at third and 3 at short. You like what you see with Robertson?
Yeah, I like him. He's under control. He's already hit a couple of home runs. Got his first big league hit against Liriano in that game where Francisco threw only 1/3 of an inning. But he can play all over the place. He's a good athlete. Good looking athlete. And they've got a left-handed hitting second baseman, Miller. And when a tough lefty is on the mound, Miller gets the day off and Robertson gets to fill in for him.
Danny Robertson has reached base in 8 of his last 15 plate appearances. A couple of home runs and 4 RBIs over his last 7 games. That's a pretty good pitch. Strike 3. He got that inside corner with that fastball, and boy, once he starts spotting that fastball over, then he becomes really tough.
That's what I mean about when he can get all of those pitches over any time in the count. That's when you're going to get those high strikeout games. He had him looking for an off-speed pitch. Either the slider or the changeup crosses him up and buries that fastball in the inside corner. He had a 10 strikeout game this year, if you remember that. That was against Baltimore, his 27th career 10 strikeout game.
The one thing they would like him to do is be a little more efficient, pitch a little deeper into the game. It's been quite a while since he's thrown 7 innings as a starter. There's no question about the quality of his pitches. He's one of those guys that can go out on a given night and take no-hit stuff to the mound every time he goes to the mound.
Find it early. Find that release point on his fastball. Find it early with the slider. And he can lose it every now and then in the middle of a game for like an inning. Just lose it. But having Russell Martin back there with him is almost like a security blanket for him. So Russell really knows how to work with me and help me get back into a strike zone.
Liriano threw a no-hitter in 2011. He beat the White Sox 1-0, and it was in his first start in May 3rd. He had gone 1-4 with a 9 ERA in April. So you just never know when things are going to turn around for him.
Yeah, when you're going to walk out onto that mound and everything clicks. Second walk of the night for Liriano.
Number 9 hitter is Peter Borges. He's in the lineup because the lefty is on the mound, and Borges has had 9 hits in 33 at-bats against Liriano. So Norris is at first with the 2-out walk. Liriano's mechanics, I don't think you would say they were picture perfect. He does a lot of things that you would like to see different, but he's a short armor. He spins off his front leg, and from time to time he just puts too much effort in his pitches, and it takes him out of the strike zone.
And whenever his arm lags just a little bit, that's when you start to see that ball shoot up and away for right-handers. Russell gets him back into the strike zone by making him throw a breaking ball. What that does is it gets Liriano on top of the ball just a little bit more. Keeps that front side closed just a little bit longer. And that helps him to stay compact and get back into the strike zone.
Tell you what, tonight we've seen him throw some pretty good fastballs. He's made good pitches with his fastball, and that's got to be encouraging to Russell. Once Martin sees that, then he's really got that slider always in reserve, so he puts fastball in their minds, and then he creates some swings. Changeup. And a good one. Couple of strikeouts in the second for Liriano. 3 in the ball game. We've played 2 complete, still no score.
He went on the DL. He's had 2 homers since. The irony, of course, is that Goins went to Vegas this winter and trained with Tulowitzki, and boy, did they work. Goins thought he knew what an offseason program was all about, but with Tulowitzki, he put in more time and did more than ever in his career. Swings, hitting the emphasis, and Goins made an adjustment with his hands, moving a little slower, and Tulowitzki preached to him about just unloading and seeing the ball. By that, breathe slow, try to make the ball better now and make everything slower, then explode into the baseball. Goins finds that he has better plate discipline. He's laying off balls outside the strike zone. He said he hasn't been around anyone who works as hard nor as regimented as Tulowitzki, and he's seen a real improvement being a sponge around that man right there.
Yeah, he's been very good to share his knowledge with younger players, and Tulowitzki has done it. And we talked to him about this in Montreal. And I asked him who his Troy Tulowitzki was, and he didn't hesitate when he said Matt Holliday. There's Holliday now with the Yankees has had a pretty positive impact on some of those young players with New York.
Isn't it interesting when you see veterans who are like Tulowitzki, who's hard-nosed and hardcore? Someone taught them the right way to play the game when they first came up.
You see that consistently around the sport, where one guy has been there for a long time and has established himself. You saw it in Kansas City when you joined the Royals and saw George Brett and the way he played, and everybody kind of followed suit, and that was their style. Same thing in Boston with Pedroia. Everybody kind of falls in line behind Pedroia. Jeter did it in New York.
And it's not an accident that when you've got your best player who is like that, who is a gamer, who's hard-nosed, he will police the clubhouse. The players will end up policing themselves. And oh yeah, you win a lot of ball games too.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
You win a lot when you've got guys like that.
Goins fouls it back. 2 balls and a strike to the Blue Jays at shortstop Ryan Goins. Goins starting at shortstop. This is his 14th start at shortstop. Troy Tulowitzki's made 15 starts for the season. Tulowitzki and Donaldson are down here with the Blue Jays at their spring training facility, working out, trying to get back. Both here tonight in uniform on the bench.
And we'll probably go with the team back to Toronto and possibly get both of those players back in the lineup at some point on that long homestand coming up.
They're both so valuable for the intensity they bring, the knowledge they have, and how they share it with their teammates. They can see things from the bench and pass it along to some of the players playing in this game. Archer strikes out Goins. Let's check in again with the Rash.
Well, Buck, you guys were talking about Tulowitzki and Matt Holliday. It was this offseason. Tulowitzki said, I learned that being a good teammate is real important here. He said experience and life lessons come into play. He said early on in my career I was selfish. It was about me. It was about my numbers, how many all-star games. But he said what I've realized is the true joy is making others around you better. He said I got to go out of my way. I got to get out of my comfort zone, but I'm enjoying doing that.
He has done the same thing with Trevor Story, the young shortstop in Colorado. Evan Travis, he shoots this one down the right side, but that slices out of play.
Corey Dickerson mentions Troy Tulowitzki. Dickerson now with the Tampa Bay Rays. He mentions Tulowitzki taught him how to play the game the right way when he first came up.
Evan Travis started to swing it a little bit better. His average is creeping up somewhat. He's just 1 for 20 this season against Tampa Bay. And a lot of these Blue Jays, like Donaldson, like Travis, because they were dealing with injuries in the spring, didn't have many at-bats. April served as their spring training.
April was their spring training to get their timing down, and maybe in the month of May they'll start hitting the ball a little bit more consistently. For Devin, they've been just wearing him out with fastballs up. He just hasn't been able to get the bat head out consistently. Just a lot of fastballs up in the strike zone.
That's a good slider out of Deniz. Well, you know, and I know you were a good hitter, but there were times when you were going through slumps where you thought you had to hit everything. And you see that fastball up, you see it well. So you think you can hit it, and it's just above the hitting zone.
You swing through it, you foul it back, you pop it up. You just don't get it all. You don't get it out in front.
There's another one of those pitches upstairs. I think that one thing that gets overlooked by the game is how much time pitching coaches put in looking at video to compile a game plan for their respective starters. I mean, they do it every single day.
Yeah, more so now than ever. And they spend hours, and I mean hours, looking at tape. Hitters, on the other hand, spend hours looking at tape trying to refine their swing and trying to find out something that pitcher is trying to do to them.
Thank goodness we didn't have that much video when I played. I don't think I would have liked to see my swing over and over and over again.
My head would have exploded with all the information that they give you now.
There's another good slider, another strikeout. 2 down here in the top half of the third. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Yeah, I tell you what, you've thrown to the hitters, I've thrown to hitters, and when they hit that ball back at the middle, it's hard to get out of the way, and you can imagine what it's like in the middle of the game when the intensity is ratcheted up dramatically.
You know what? I would never throw to a major league hitter without a cage or a screen, first of all. So I would never pitch, because the only way I do that is with a screen. I wouldn't throw to Aaron Judge even if I had a screen. I saw what he did to the Blue Jays the last 3 days in New York. No way would I stand in there to pitch to that guy.
This is Chris Coughlin batting in the 9th spot. Chris Archer gave up a bloop single to Kevin Pillar to start the ball game. Then he struck out Bautista and got a double play off the bat of Russell Martin. The only base runner to reach was Pillar. Coughlin behind, 0-2. Just a little bit high. Archer has thrown first pitch strikes to 5 of the last 6 batters. And like we say, you got to be ready for that first good pitch you get to hit.
Overthrew this one. I know he wanted to go upstairs, but you know, his stuff is so good, he doesn't need to set hitters up trying to throw that ball up there. He can just go right after him.
Archer with another slider. He strikes out the side. He has struck out 4 in a row. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Still no score in St. Pete.
MLB.com @bat mobile app. You can stay connected to the game's best players all season long with Game Day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com @bat today, your #1 app for live baseball.
Good shot of Tropicana Field, not far from downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. A very cool, kind of nice spring-like day here. No humidity. Beautiful day outside. These are the days where you'd like to be outdoors playing baseball.
Yes, here, but in a couple of months, not so much.
Tim Beckham Jr. takes the first pitch strike. He struck out on a fastball up and away his first time up. That's going to reach the seats out of play. Each team with 1 hit. Longoria hit a 2-out double off of Liriano in the first. Kevin Pillar hit a leadoff single off of Archer in the first, and there's been nothing since.
A lot of strikeouts from both of these guys, but that's what we expected.
Cued off the end of the bat. That hits the bag. Nice play by Smoke. He was going over to field the ball. The ball hit the bag, and they're fortunate it popped up to allow Justin to make a play on it. He changed direction and was able to beat Beckham to the bag.
You know, that's the type of play for a first baseman where you got to lay back and you basically have to be defensive against that ball. If you're aggressive with that ball, it's liable to hit the bag and bounce by you. But he plays it defensively where he lays back and he's going to read the hop, sees it, and he still has plenty of time to get Beckham over at first base.
Well, I like what he's doing with his fastball, making some real good pitches with it. Gets ahead of Kiermaier with the fastball.
Russell was talking about that the other day. He says the first couple of innings with Liriano, you got to get a feel for what's working for him. One day it could be the fastball. One day it could be the changeup. One day it could be the slider. Once I figure out what's working for him that day, I'll go to that. I'll also start watching how the opposition is swinging against those pitches. And if I see some defensive swings, I'm going to stay right with it. Just never know what a pitcher's going to take to the mound every day.
Popped up. Travis, the second baseman, now back on the dirt, part of the infield, makes the catch. Kiermaier's retired, 2 away.
Well, whatever Russell's been throwing down there, it's been working for Francisco Liriano. His last 4 starts, his ERA is microscopic at just 2.01. Hasn't given up a home run. Now, those games have been against Baltimore, Boston, the Angels, and these Tampa Bay Rays. And a boatload, 24 strikeouts in those last 4 starts.
That's the way he threw all spring long. Another fastball to get ahead of Longoria. And hitters in their mind, they got to be thinking, oh man, he's throwing strikes with his fastball. He's got a wicked slider. The changeup, that's the pitch that Beckham cued off the end of his bat.
Yeah, he can't be any fun for right-handed batters or left-handed batters.
Yeah, you and I used to talk about guys like this and say they're not left-handed. They're not left-handed. That's not somebody I want to face. Look at that swing. Ball ran away from him.
Got the only hit against him. Longoria hit a slider down the left field line.
See, this is the thing about radar guns and velocity and all of that. 91, 92, 93. That's where we've seen Liriano's fastball, but it's got such late movement. It's like you were trying to hit something 98, 99 miles an hour.
Pitching is not about how hard you throw. It's how you keep those batters off balance and where you throw it, when you throw it, how your stuff is moving. It's more than just lighting up the radar gun.
Longoria has his second hit. Cut off by Pierce. Longoria, he is laboring a little bit running up the first baseline.
He's been struggling a little bit with the bat, and I think the foot problem has something to do with that. He hit a slider for a double, and it looks like he got another slider that time. And hit it in the left field. It was elevated just a little bit. When you've got that plantar fasciitis, it's when you start and when you stop your running. That's when you really feel it. Once you get going and you're running, you don't really feel it. But when you slow down and try and put on the brakes, that's when you start to feel that pain in your foot.
Longoria with another 2-out hit. He had a 2-out double in the first. Now he has a single here in the third. Steven Souza Jr. walked his first time up. Bottom of the third, no score. Missed way outside. It's 2-0. Same kind of situation happened to Liriano in the first inning after he got the 2 outs.
Base hit, walk. And then he got Dickerson. Now he's got to come into the strike zone. 2-0.
'91, but it looked a lot harder to Souza. This is the 8th game these two teams have played already. The Rays have won 4 of those first 7. Kevin Cash in his 3rd season as the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays.
They're always good games, aren't they? Between these two.
Always close, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's close. You see crazy things. You know you're going to get great pitching from both of these teams. And some scrappy hitting.
Souza walks on the 3-2 pitch. And the walks again creeping into the equation tonight. That's the third walk issued by Liriano, and the highest walk per 9-inning percentage. Andrew Cashner, Ubaldo Jimenez, Blake Snell, and then Liriano, almost 6 walks per 9 innings.
If he could cut that down, he's going to be a consistent winner. Last year, he was second in Major League Baseball in walks, 85 behind Jimmy Nelson, who had 86. And if he could cut those walks, let's say, in half, he was going to pitch into the 7th inning easily for the Blue Jays.
When the Blue Jays acquired Liriano on August 1st, he was leading the National League in walks, so they knew what they were getting. And certainly they had a big fan of Liriano's in the catcher, Russell Martin, and also in Jason Grilli. All three of them were teammates in Pittsburgh. Corey Dickerson with a mighty cut. Dickerson grounded out to the first baseman to end the bottom of the first.
He has hit over 400 versus left-handed pitching early in the year. I mean, the first, I don't know how many weeks of the season that we have played, but he has hit over 400. That might be the biggest improvement that we have seen from Corey Dickerson from last year to this year. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to be a platoon player, especially a young player at the major league level. They want to prove that they're an everyday player, that they can play in the field. Dickerson's been playing a little bit more left field the last couple of days, but they don't want to get that label of being a platoon player where you're only going to play against right-hand hitting. He's gone out there to show that he can hit lefties. He's been doing it by hitting the ball to all the fields.
For comparison's sake, last year Dickerson hit .241 against left-handed pitching, and as Pat mentioned, he came in this game 11 for 27, a .407 average. That's a dramatic improvement.
Well, the Blue Jays feel he's going to hit the ball to left field. He's going to hit one of these sliders and try and serve the ball out to left field, because Steve Pearce, the left fielder, is playing Dickerson like a pole right-handed hitter.
Strike 3 called, and came with the fastball and caught Dickerson flat-footed. Strikeout ends the inning. We'll go to the 4th. Chris Archer has 6 strikeouts through the order the first time. It'll be Kevin Pillar. He's got a single. Bautista and then Russell Martin. Top of the order in this scoreless game. this ball game. Only 3 hits, 2 by the Rays, 1 by the Blue Jays, and the pitchers have the upper hand so far. Josh Donaldson giving Ryan Goins his thought about what might work against Chris Archer. Kevin Pillar has the Blue Jays hit. He had a group single into center his first time up. Hits this one to left field, but not that deep. Borges coming in a few steps. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jose Bautista, he struck out on a slider his first time up. We mentioned Archer with 6 strikeouts through 3 1/3.
We got to go back and look at how many of those are against the slider. I don't remember too many with the fastball. I remember a lot of swing and misses with that slider. You know, the one thing that Jose does against the Rays is he'll hit a share of home runs against them, but he'll always take his walks against them too. They are so careful with Bautista. I mean, breaking ball off the plate or high fastballs.
Well, he's really seeing the ball well. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have as many hits as he would like, but he's getting his walks and he's laying off those borderline pitches. He's not up there just flailing away.
He's had a lot of success against the Rays. You see the numbers there, the 31 home runs. That's the most among active players. He's also had the most walks against the Rays for active players.
96 walks.
96.
This is his 144th game. I mean, he's basically played a full season against the Rays over his career. 20 doubles, 2 triples, 31 home runs, and 79 ribbies.
He's got a chance here to sit on a fastball if he wants to. 3-1.
You can sit on it, but if it's right there on the knees, down and away, it's hard to swing at.
Yeah, at 95 miles an hour also. He is right on top of the plate, and Jose's looking for something out where he can yank it to left field.
That is pulled down the left field line, but it's going to be foul. That looked like a slider. He hit it toward the end of the bat, and I think he broke his bat.
He got Pillar on that fly ball. It sounded like Kevin broke his bat. Now Jose gets a slider and hits it off the end of the bat.
He spoiled a pretty good pitch there. You've seen a lot of pitchers in the American League. Where does Archer's slider rank in your mind? Is it top 3, top 4, or is it the best?
All right, let me think now. Let me go. I can't think of a better slider in the American League. Can you?
Well, especially because he throws it so much. There
Chris Sale's pretty good. His more of a sweeping type of slider, where Archer's looks like a fastball and takes a left-handed turn. Off the top of my head, David Price called it the best pitch in the American League.
Yeah.
The most devastating pitch in the American League.
I think because he throws it so consistently well. Where he keeps it. Look at all those pitches down and away. Well, he got away with one there. That one backed up on him. 7 strikeouts for Archer, and this is not unusual for Archer when he pitches against the Jays here at Tropicana Field.
These are his last 7 games here at the Trop versus Toronto's ERA is 2. His whip microscopic, and he's averaging 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. We told you about the streak that he has had against the Blue Jays. 2 or fewer runs in 7 straight starts in 12 of his last 13 starts. That goes back to September of 2014.
Russell Martin, the catcher.
And it's not just the Blue Jays. I mean, he pitches everybody tough. He was 3-10 last year in this ballpark. Hard to believe. He led the American League in earned run average, home earned run average last year at 265. But he also received the lowest run support in the majors at home. They only scored him 2 runs a game, so he didn't have much to work with.
Now that's a tough pitch. It's that slider that backs up a little bit, and even if you're looking for the slider, you're looking away, and that thing spins up there and just kind of
just sits
backs
right
up
there
a little bit, and then you're thinking away, 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 and you can't swing at it.
You can't pull the trigger.
0-2. We talked about how many strikeouts Archer registered last season with his slider, 152. And, you know, there's always the thought, well, that's hard on your elbow. It certainly doesn't look like it's hard on his elbow.
He's got one of those loose arms, doesn't he? Just tried to overthrow that one. He came out of his delivery. Yeah, it was 98 miles an hour, but it wasn't even close.
Two and two to Martin. Blue Jays have had but 1 base runner. He was erased on a double play. Strike 3 call. Out on the outside corner with the fastball. 8 strikeouts through 4 innings for Chris Archer. Still no score.
$20,000 fans will receive one of those, a Marco Estrada bobblehead. You can join in the 200 level of the WestJet flight deck. They've created an oasis dedicated to pampering mom. Marco Estrada bobblehead day next Sunday, May 14th, when the Blue Jays face the Mariners. BlueJays.com for tickets. And Estrada gets the ball here in the Trop tomorrow when the Blue Jays face the Rays. Buck?
Thank you very much, Arash. And Troy Tulowitzki is here. On the bench with the Blue Jays, Marcus Stroman. Listening, and again, the teaching continues. And from a hitter's perspective, that's invaluable for a pitcher. And Tulo's talking about how Archer's setting up these hitters and why he's so successful and what he does. And you just can't hear this kind of stuff too often. It's beautiful coming from your teammate, especially.
Well, I like that he's sitting on the bench and he's still teaching. He's not just sitting there just watching the ball game. He never takes a night off. Even when he's not on the roster, when he's on the disabled list, he's out there trying to help his team.
Ricky Weeks Jr. The 2-0 count. Weeks grounded out to third base, his only time up. Liriano has walked 3. He has struck out 4. And that's pretty much the ratio that he has dealt with most of his career.
Patience at the plate.
Right there, he backed off that fastball, threw it 90 miles an hour, and got a strike with it.
Throw a BP fastball. There is nothing wrong with that. And by BP fastball, I mean a hitter in a 3-1 count is gearing for your best fastball, because he knows he's on the offensive. If you take a little something off, it's going to act just like a changeup. And if you've got confidence in that BP fastball, you can get a lot of outs with it.
Strike 3 call. He came back and got the inside corner with the strikeout. 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell.
Number 29, Daniel Robertson.
Home run number 4 for Chris Davis. It gives him 7 RBIs. He's off to a slow start. But the Orioles have a 2-0 lead. Bottom of the 4th in Baltimore.
What a week the Orioles have had, haven't they?
Man.
I want you to go through your transactions and see how many pitchers transactions that the Baltimore Orioles have used this week. Some out of necessity, some out of injury, some out of ineffectiveness.
Remember when we saw Buck Showalter early in the spring, he was licking his chops. He said, I got a 10-day disabled list and I can send all my optional players down to the minors. They call it Stefan Crichton again today. That ball is hit high and deep to left, and that ball hits the walkway and goes over the fence. A home run. Daniel Robertson connects. That ball got up around the walkway. It might have gone over it and not hit anything, and it stayed fair. When it came down, it was inside the foul pole, beyond the fence, into the seats.
That ball disappeared. The left fielder, Steve Pearce, wasn't sure where it is. It's going to be home run number 3 for Robertson. It's high enough, and it goes over one of those rings. He loses it, gets up over the rings, and out of the ballpark. We told you that the Tampa Bay Rays will hit their share. They will strike out a lot. They lead the major leagues in strikeouts. They also lead the major leagues in walks, but they will hit their share of home runs.
This is going to be interesting because John Gibbons came out on the field, and there is a foul pole on that B ring up high, and they're looking at the video to see if it may have struck that pole to the foul side of that walkway. I don't know that it hit anything. I think it went over it, like you said, Pat.
Yeah.
And we, just like Pierce, you lose it from time to time, and then you can pick up the flight once again. And now they're going to have a look at it. Larry Vanover is the crew chief of this umpiring crew, and they're going to look at it.
There's a foul pole on, I believe it's the B ring. There's also a foul pole on the C ring. There's 4 rings here, and I believe it goes A, B, C, D from top to bottom.
That's right.
And there's a foul pole on the B ring. There's one on the C ring. From our vantage point, that ball looked like it was fair. That one went over the C ring down the left field line, but from where we're sitting, that looked like it was fair.
I don't know that it could have gone over the B ring foul and not hit anything and then landed inside fair territory.
Yeah. I think that third one down, it went over that one and then over the D ring, or in between the D ring, which is behind the foul pole. Pierce lost it because it went over one of those rings.
Yeah, it disappears when it goes over the rings, obviously, and the fielders, they try to focus on it. And it's really interesting. The B ring ranges from 142 feet in center field to 173 feet high behind home plate. So it's tilted, and if you see the roof from the outside, you can understand it. It's slanted, and Larry Vanover indicates indeed it is a home run, so the call on the field stands, and the Rays have a 1-0 lead. So Robertson with his 3rd home run of the season, and it's given Tampa Bay a 1-0 lead.
Kevin Cash is getting an explanation from Chad Fairchild, home plate umpire, on what just transpired.
Just the 2nd home run that Liriano has allowed this season.
He gave up one to Longoria in that 1/3 of an inning and hadn't given one up. We showed that over his last 4 starts. He hadn't given up a home run.
Norris goes after the first pitch and swings and misses. Liriano, whenever he spins out of his delivery, looks down at the mound. He's so violent when he lands on that lead drive leg, and he lands there and spins off of it. He creates quite a hole in that landing spot.
Yeah, he chews up the mound pretty well. When he brings that back leg around, you can see his spikes grab into the dirt, and as he finishes his pitch, that landing leg kicks up a lot of dirt, and after a couple of innings, it creates a big hole right in the middle of where he is landing.
Check swing, roller up the first baseline. And with Archer, the right-hander, falling off in the other direction, you can see all of his skid marks going toward the first base foul line, and Liriano's going toward the third base foul line. They can create quite a mess.
That could get really messy if you were a pitcher from the other team, and that's where you would be landing, right in Liriano's little hole that he dug out there on the mound.
This one's going to be out of play over the Rays dugout.
Well, that's what they do. We were talking before that stoppage in play that they will strike out. They lead the major leagues in strikeouts, lead the major leagues in walks, and they're 4th in the American League in home runs. Tampa Bay, all or nothing, if you will, offensively.
Norris lays off that slider down and in.
36 home runs now for the Rays.
The Yankees have 44 home runs. Well, now 45, because Brett Gardner hit a walk-off, well, not a walk-off, but a game-winning home run in the 9th inning, and then Texas has 43. Ball is hit deep to center field. Pilar is on the run. That ball is gone. Derek Norris. Back-to-back home runs with Robertson here in the 4th. For Norris, that's his 2nd, both coming against the Blue Jays.
The other one was at Rogers Center. This one was a pitch out over the plate, and Norris blasted the center field. Back-to-back home runs for the Rays. They wanted this ball down, and it stayed up out over the plate. About belt high for Norris, and he's got some pop. Sends that one on a line over Pilar. Kevin just couldn't get back there quick enough because it was a line drive. Just barely cleared the wall in center field.
3-2 home run for Norris. He hit that 3-2 pitch out of the ballpark. Home run number 2, RBI number 10. This is on the ground. Goins at short. Quickly to first. Borges is retired.
The all-new 2017 CR-V. With revamped cargo space, it's the biggest fan yet. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Gulf of Mexico, not far away from Tropicana Field. Sun setting on this Friday evening. Top of the order, Tim Beckham Jr. Tim Beckham has gone 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. Second time the Rays have gone back-to-back this season. Brad Miller and Steven Souza Jr. did it April 17th at Boston against the Red Sox.
Beckham is looking for a ball inside, so he can do what we saw twice this inning. Try and launch one to left field. So Liriano's going to try and keep the ball away from him.
Pass Coughlin into left field. Beckham gets a 2-out single.
That ball was up. Change up, they wanted it down and away, and again he's looking for the ball middle in to do some damage, and that ball just floated upstairs and stayed right in there, just out of the reach of Chris Coughlin, the third baseman. The Rays are going to have some decisions to make. Their starting shortstop, Matt Duffy, looks like he might be getting close, a couple of weeks away from coming back. The question is, what do they do with Tim Beckham?
You can rotate Beckham where he can give Longoria a blow at third. He can back up at short. He can play second. You can figure out a way. If he continues to swing the bat this way, they're going to find a place for him.
Yeah, he's going to earn some playing time. Right now, he is their starting shortstop while Duffy is out. But when he comes back, they're going to have a predicament.
Kevin Kiermaier, number 2, he's 0 for 0. If that hit the knob of his bat or his right hand, he's shaking his right hand like that hit him. Up and in, and that running fastball just kept tracking on Kiermaier. Hit him on the right forearm or right wrist. It got him flush because it sounded like it hit the bat.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. I don't know if that was his hand or the knob of his bat. Kevin's saying it's my hand and my wrist. Running fastball, that's his two-seamer. Up. That got his hand.
Hit him on the fat pad of his right hand. Listen to the sound. That hit him flush.
Third baseman, Evan Longoria.
Well, the last time the Rays had a hit batter, that was Biagini when he hit Steven Souza Jr. Danny Barnes starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays in their bullpen. Back-to-back home runs for the Rays here, coming with 1 out in the 4th. Now there are runners at first and second for Evan Longoria. He's gone 2 for 2 so far.
Both of those hits were sliders that were up. Sped up his bat, hit both of them to left field.
The last time that Liriano surrendered 2 home runs in a game, it was to Tampa Bay. Last September 12th, Longoria and Brad Miller went back-to-back in the 7th inning against him. Changeup he laid off. Now 3-0. Danny Barnes is getting loose.
Trying to stop the bleeding. Right here, a couple more base runners on, and we got Longoria, who's made a career against the Blue Jays.
Ball 4. Got to load the bases. 2 outs. Well, this happened in a hurry, and that's what has been the track record for Liriano. He can be breezing and all of a sudden runs into problems.
Yeah, 2 outs, nobody on. Yeah, he's giving up a couple of home runs. Dane Johnson is getting the message from the bench what he wants Danny Barnes to do. Single hit batter walk. And the bases are loaded, and you're going to have to face their cleanup hitter, Souza, who's got 18 RBIs.
He showed you his great numbers with runners in scoring position in his first at bat. He has walked both times tonight. Fastball off the plate. This is a much different offensive team than we've seen the last several years.
Yeah, their theory last year was go up there and swing, hack. That might be the best pitch you see early in the count. They were a bunch of free swingers. This year, more patience, more home runs, more walks. Yeah, they have their strikeouts. They strike out most in baseball.
Ball on a strike, bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 runs in here for Tampa Bay. They lead it 2-0. Liriano has thrown 30 pitches in this inning.
Yeah, he's closing in on 100, and we're only in the 4th inning. This is what I mean about if he could get that pitch count down, he's going to be able to go longer in the ball game.
Marco Estrada pitches tomorrow afternoon. Joe Biagini pitches Sunday, his first start of the season, and that's where you're concerned about innings out of your bullpen. (3-1) on the corner. So it's full count, bases loaded, and 2 outs. So they'll all be moving on the pitch. Beckham at third, he's singled. Kiermaier's at second, he got hit by a pitch. Longoria's at first, he walked. Two runs on 5 hits for Tampa Bay. There go the runners. Fouled out of play.
Well, you talk about the starter not going deep into the ball game, puts a little extra pressure on your bullpen. Take a look at the numbers that are starting to pile up for the Blue Jays when it comes to bullpen innings. Only the Angels have thrown more.
Well, and there's a couple of unusual circumstances involved here. Liriano got 1/3 of an inning in one of his starts. Sanchez pitched 1 inning in his start before going back on the DL. So they haven't pitched deep. Another foul ball.
You also have 2 complete games from Marcus Stroman this year.
So the average isn't what it was last year when the starters did such a great job of pitching deep into ball games.
Yeah, what did they have? Something like, I can't even remember the number of at least 6 innings. They had a huge number of consecutive starts. I think it was in the 20s.
I think it was 26. 26 consecutive starts, 6 innings or more.
So much easier.
Allowing like 2 runs or less. Right. They had a great run.
So much easier on the manager to manage that bullpen.
Another walk. Walked in a run. So Liriano in this inning, 2 home runs, 2 walks. He's hit a batter, and that's going to be the end of his night. A promising start to this outing, right into the 4th inning when he struck out Ricky Weeks Jr. to start the inning. But he faces 8 men, gives up 3 runs on back-to-back home runs and a bases-loaded walk. Souza walked 3 times tonight against Liriano. So Liriano is out. Danny Barnes is in, 2 outs. Barnes takes over here in the fourth. He inherits the bases loaded, 2 outs so far this season. Danny has stranded all 3 of the previous base runners he's inherited. And he's going to have to do a job to get out of this.
He's been up and down a couple of times now this season. The last time he worked was 3 days ago when he gave him multiple innings at New York, a couple of innings. And first thing he has to concentrate on right here is that batter at the plate. Dickerson is looking for one pitch here early in this count where he can try and do some damage.
Barnes might have thrown him a breaking ball on that first pitch, and he got the swing. He's ahead of the count.
Well, he's not afraid to throw the changeup anytime. I think that's his second best pitch. His fastball, breaking ball, changeup, and Danny can throw it at any time.
96 pitches for Liriano. He got 3 2/3. Walked 5, struck out 5. Danny Barnes quickly ahead 0-2. One thing we know about Barnes, he is a strike thrower.
Yes. Not afraid to pound that strike zone again with 3 different pitches. And he's not afraid to use any of them at any time. He could go 3-2 changeup if he wants to. We've seen that from him.
One and 2 to Corey Dickerson. Dickerson is grounded out and was called out on strikes in the 3rd. Bases remain loaded. 3 runs in this inning. Got him. What a job by Danny Barnes. He strikes out Corey Dickerson. 9 men come to the plate. Tampa Bay has taken a 3-0 lead. Now time for an update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Song in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Game 5 in Anaheim. Series tied at 2 apiece. It's 10:30 Eastern on Sportsnet. Randy Carlisle says both Patrick Eaves and Andre Cass are out. Upper body injuries and a lower body injury for Eaves. So a bit of an opening there for the Oilers. Buck.
Tough this time of the year to keep everybody on the ice. Everybody's worn down a bit. The intensity of the Stanley Cup playoffs really that's the most of the players, and that's unfortunate. They go into such a crucial game without 2 key players. Chris Archer, he's breezing along. He had a very good first inning, and it's gotten just as good consistently all night long. He has 8 strikeouts through 4 innings.
Yeah, think about that. That's the most strikeouts with a walk, without a walk, through 4 innings for Archer since August of 2015 when he did that against the Twins. Hasn't walked anybody. That's why his pitch count sits at 55, even though he has struck out 8 batters.
This is a little bit like the Chris Sale outing against the Blue Jays, where he threw a lot of strikes just pounded to strike.
Strike one.
Yep.
Right? Lots of strikes. Tell you what, though, he sat over there on the bench while the Rays hit around. That was a long inning. So I wonder if he was able to get out there and get loose again.
9 men came to the plate. They scored 3 runs on 3 hits and left the bases loaded. The pitcher's up there. You see him shaking his head a little bit like, man, I can't do that.
He's getting away with it tonight. Struck out the side in the 3rd. Had 2 strikeouts in the 4th. He's under control with his slider. And his body is really under control. He's not trying to overthrow it at all.
Archer has struck out 6 of the last 7 Blue Jays to come to the plate.
Think about the big pitchers around Major League Baseball that have high strikeout totals. What's the one thing that's common with all of them? They've got that one pitch that they can get you out with.
Yeah.
If it's Clayton Kershaw with that big breaking ball to go along with a great fastball. Chris Sale, changeup, slider. This guy's got the great slider. Steven Strasburg got that wipeout slider. Justin Verlander, he's got everything he can strike you out with. Max Scherzer. I mean, they all have that one pitch that can just put you away.
3-2 pitch to Morales. Chris Sale leads baseball with 63 strikeouts. Scherzer had 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. He's got 51 strikeouts. Robbie Ray of Arizona with 49, tied with Jacob deGrom of the Mets. Racking up the strikeouts early on.
They usually have good fastballs and a great secondary pitch, something that they can use, that they can go to. That's extraordinary.
Deep drive to center. Kiermaier's on the run. The ball slicing away from him. He hits at the base of the wall. Morales is headed for second. He slides in safely just ahead of the throw. So Morales collects his 14th hit against Chris Archer. I don't know what it is, but he has his number.
Well, whatever it is, he's got to start passing it along to his teammates because he looks comfortable. He can hit a breaking ball. That's the first thing. He can hit a breaking ball, and that's what he's going to get from Archer. He goes back to that pitch again that he loves, and that ball just kept rising and slicing away from Kiermaier. And how about the throw from Kiermaier right on the bag? Told you he's had 25 outfield assists over the last 3 years, #1 among center fielders. Tell you what, he made that play close at second base.
We mentioned he hit the double by Morales, his 14th career hit. Only David Ortiz with 15 and Jacoby Ellsbury with 19 have more hits against Archer than Kendrys Morales. And both of those other players had more than twice the at-bats that Morales has had.
They were American League East guys, right? Morales is the first year that Kendrys has spent in the American League East.
Justin Smoke, he flied out up against the left field wall his first time up.
A rare changeup.
87 miles an hour, but very effective. You're right, he doesn't throw many. Picked a good spot to throw that one.
You know what? We should throw it again. That really fooled Justin Smoke there.
0-2. Ooh, he got away with another one. Smoke had a good hack at that high slider. Smokey's got some power. He's got a home run against Archer. He hit a slider that was out over the plate up against the wall and left. The left fielder Peter Borges caught it right up against the fence.
Stayed back on that ball nicely. They might try something different here, like a high fastball, just to show him something different.
It was a fastball well off the plate inside. It's 1-2 now. That double for Morales is the 5th double he's hit off Archer. That's the most doubles anybody's hit off. He wears him out.
There's just certain pitchers that guys see the ball.
Smoke's hanging tough. Blue Jays need to get something going and take advantage of that leadoff double. Tough to break through against Chris Archer. But I think the Blue Jays like the challenge. They know that Archer's been tough on them, and you beat him in game 1, and then everything else might be gravy. You got Estrada going tomorrow, and he's on quite a roll.
Yep. You play the Tampa Bay Rays, you're going to run into a good starting pitcher, period. This is their ace right here. If you can beat him, gain a little momentum.
Smokey drives it into center field. That's going to score a run. Morales is coming around, and Longoria tries to cut it off. But Smoke delivers a 2-strike base hit to center, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
Went back to that slider. One too many often. Smokey's seeing that slider. He stayed on that thing and drilled it to left field. Looked like it was going to be extra bases, but Kiermaier cut it off and kept that double play in order. This is how you hit a slider from the left side. Stay back and drill it to left field. Kiermaier thinks he has a shot at Morales at the plate for some reason.
Well, the one thing he did was he threw it low enough that Longoria could have cut it, but he missed it. That kept Smoke at first base. Morales trying to catch his breath. So it's a 3-1 game. Blue Jays cash in that Morales leadoff double. Then this ball is smoked but foul off the bat of Pierce. Pierce had a good at bat against Archer in the 2nd. He was called out on a slider down and away after taking a couple of close ones that were off the plate.
If you're reading bats right now, if you're Derek Norris, Blue Jays are starting to hit that slider. Might have to change up and do something different.
There you go. 95 down and away. It's 0-2. That's a good pickup, Pat. I think you're right. I think the Blue Jays all of a sudden have been able to square up some of these sliders.
This is about making adjustments in game and seeing different things and seeing the bats, the at-bats by the Blue Jays.
That ball is hit hard to center, but right at Kiermaier. Another slider that gets hit hard. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Twins are off to a decent start going into that game. 14-12, 2 games over 500. And they've got a nice middle of the order with Sano hitting over 300. Grossman's hitting 277. They're waiting on Joe Mauer. He's batting 230. And Brian Dozier is typically a slow starter.
Slow starter, but he's getting his hits. Buxton had to leave the game the other day when he crashed into a wall.
Ryan Goins struck out on a slider his first time up. He is 0 for 11 against Tampa Bay this season. Ryan's made the most of his hits. He's got 9 RBIs.
I'd like to see him pull one of those sliders into right field. You got the first baseman holding that runner on at first base. If he whips that slider in there and it's middle in, pull it right through that hole on the right side.
Ball and a strike to the Blue Jays shortstop. Another fastball. He's kind of gotten away from that slider, but it seems as though always when there's a pitch of consequence, it goes back to the slider.
Yeah, and you become predictable then. I think if he's a little bit more unpredictable and use his fastball. Got a great fastball.
Ball gets away, but not far enough for Smoke to advance.
Derek Norris has done a good job catching. This is the first time that you and I have had a chance to watch him for more than just one game. He's pretty good.
We saw him in Oakland early on when he was out there splitting time with Stephen Vogt. Luke Maile is now backing up Russell Martin here, but I've been impressed with Norris. He presents a nice target. He's very convicted to his target. That's a nice presentation from the catcher. He gets down, gives him a low target.
Now the fans want that to be called a strike, but if you watch the replay where he is set up, he's actually set up off the plate. His glove. Yeah, they hit his glove, but it's off the plate. It looks like it's a strike.
Going strikes out. 2 away.
Buy 6 cans of Beauty Tone paint and get the 7th free. Available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts.
Tropicana Field, 2 outs. Top of the 5th, Blue Jays have a run. Justin Smoke with an RBI single. Scored Kendrys Morales. Archer striking out Goins. That's his 9th strikeout of the ballgame. That ties his season high. Had 9 strikeouts against the Tigers on the 19th of April.
Still hasn't walked anybody.
Smoke with the RBI number 14 for the season. One and one. Devin Travis struck out on a slider. Part of a 3-strikeout inning in the 3rd for Archer.
You mentioned he threw a pretty nice changeup to Justin Smoke for strike 2 this inning. He hasn't thrown that many. In fact, last year he threw 3 times as many changeups as he's throwing this year. He's basically fastball slider.
You can do that if you locate your fastball. He's pitched ahead all night on a lot of first pitch strike. When the Blue Jays are on the board, it's only a 3-1 ball game.
Can you continue to throw just 2 pitches, though? I mean, they're 2 outstanding pitches. I think you have to introduce that changeup, that 3rd pitch, a little bit more, don't you?
Especially the 3rd time through the order, you would think. High pop down the right side, headed toward the seats, and it's out of play.
They've made him work. This inning, he came into this inning with 55 pitches. He's up to 81.
On the ground. Robertson has it. Travis is retired. Blue Jays break through against Chris Archer. Kendrys Morales with the leadoff double. Justin Smoke with an RBI single. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-1 Tampa Bay. this ball game, and he got off to a decent start. He was able to rack up a few strikeouts. He had 4 strikeouts through 3 innings and ran into some trouble in the 4th. He faced the bottom part of the order. They went back-to-back, and he finished up throwing 96 pitches over 3 2/3, and 5 walks really elevated that pitch.
Yeah, he had to pitch around too many base runners. 11 base runners in 3 2/3 innings. He's made 6 starts now this year. He's had 4 with at least 4 walks in there. You got to reduce those walks so you can stick around a little bit longer.
Danny Barnes, boy, what a job he did. He came in with the bases loaded and 2 out and struck out the left-handed hitter Corey Dickerson to end the inning. So far this season, Barnes has inherited 6 base runners and stranded all 6.
Made quick work of them, too.
Well, there's an opportunity down in that bullpen for a bigger role with Joe Biagini going into the rotation, at least for the short term. Ball is hit to center field. Pilar coming in now. He'll get there and make the catch.
Joe was a valuable, and I speak in a past tense about Biagini because he's going to start on Sunday, but he was a very valuable guy in that bullpen because he became a bridge, if you will, from the starter to the back-end relievers. He could pitch you 1 inning. He could get you out of trouble if you came in an inning with runners on base and then give you another one. He can give you 2 innings. He pitched in multiple ways out of that bullpen. That's a tough guy to replace. Someone's going to have to step up, and Gibby said that pretty much this afternoon. Somebody's got a chance, so somebody's got to step up and fill the void.
Daniel Robertson hits it sharply on the ground, but right to Coghlan. 2 up, 2 down.
It's so valuable when you've got a guy that you trust coming out of that bullpen in tough situations in the middle part of a ball game with runners on base, and he gets you out of it.
Yeah, but you know what? I agree with you 100%. It'd be nice to have him down there, but you need a starter.
Yeah.
And you know what? They don't have many options in AAA. They tried Matt Latos. They tried Casey Lawrence. And I think it's the right move. And Joe Biagini's made 86 career starts in the minor. He wants to be a starter.
Yeah, he said so much today that he would like to start. And they're going to have to find another starter for one of those games against Cleveland next week, too.
Some of the most successful Blue Jays starters over the franchise history began their career pitching out of the bullpen.
Pat Hinkin, Jimmy Key,
Woody Williams, David Wells, Todd Stottlemyre. List goes on and on.
Oh, yeah. You break yourself in that bullpen. Aaron Sanchez came up and started in the bullpen, if you remember that. So did Marco Estrada when he was with the Blue Jays. He made the team his first year out of the bullpen.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, and Joe now has enjoyed a measure of success, so he knows he can get big league hitters out. And I like his assortment of pitchers. I think it's a very good assortment and profiles well for a starting pitcher. Derek Norris, he homered in the 4th. He and Daniel Robertson went back-to-back against Liriano. Norris hit a 3-2 pitch over the wall in center. For Norris, that's his 3rd career home run against the Blue Jays, and this is that 3-2 fastball.
Yeah. Second one that he has hit against the Blue Jays this year. He only has 2 this year. A line drive to dead center field. It got out so quickly, Pilar couldn't get back there quick enough to try and climb the wall.
Good pitch. Down and away. It rolls foul. You know, we've talked about this before. How I like emotion, demonstrations, celebrations, and all that. And I didn't hit home runs many in my career. But it's hard to watch a guy celebrate his 2nd home run of the season.
You can relate, right? Well, when you hit a ball like that, I guess you could do anything you want.
I never did. Derek Norris with a 2-2 count, 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. The Blue Jays trail 3-1. Danny Barnes, another strikeout. He's faced 4, retired all 4 with a couple of strikeouts. We'll go to the 6th. Blue Jays trying to break through against Chris Archer.
Since October, and at this point what he's realized is that Jimmys and Joes are more important than X's and O's. Yeah, Coughlin has picked Josh Donaldson's brain about defense and how different surfaces play, but what I care about, Coughlin says, is getting to know about these guys' lives. Part of being a good teammate, he says, is just to actually get to know them. He says clubhouse conversations haven't been as much about the game, but are you married? Do you have kids? Who are you? What are you all about? That, Coughlin says, is important to me.
It is important if you're going to be a good teammate, and he has to do it quickly as he's moved around a little bit. Of course, last year he was with the Cubs, got part of that World Series ring, and then he went to spring training with the Phillies, and they cut him loose, so he's here now with the Blue Jays. Chris Archer has pitched ahead all night long. 13 first pitch strikes, 12 of the last 14 batters. He's jumped ahead with strike 1. Chris Coughlin. That one misses.
Well, he is Archer. He has pitched, thrown at least 100 pitches in 15 straight games. They worked him over last inning to jump that pitch count up. If you're wondering about career high for Chris Archer in strikeouts, you mentioned he has 15 is his career high. Don't think he's going to be able to make it there tonight because he's thrown 84 pitches and they want to protect him.
That's out of play. That 15 strikeout game came against the Angels out in Anaheim June 2nd, 2015. Well, that's a lot of strikeouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
15 in the game. Archer also came into this game leading the majors with 128 starts since June 1st, 2013, the day he came up for good. So he's been durable. Coughlin spoils a pretty good pitch.
That's a lot of pitches and a lot of strikeouts.
3 times this season, Archer's gone at least 7 innings, and the other 2 runs or fewer. That's tied for 3rd most such starts in the American League behind Dallas Keuchel and Chris Sale. Keuchel has 6, Sale with 5. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chris Coughlin leading off the top half of the 6th inning.
What a start Dallas Keuchel's gotten off to this year, huh?
See, 6-0, 5-0. He's 5-0.
And you know who might be out pitching him? Irvin Santana.
Yeah.
Check out the numbers for Irvin Santana this year.
ERA like 0.69. Archer. That's 10 strikeouts.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Get there fast, leave even faster.
Chris Archer versus the Jays. Most Ks in a single game for Chris Archer, April 3rd, 2016. He had 12. That was opening day against Marcus Stroman. This is his third double-digit strikeout game against the Blue Jays. Kevin Pillar 1 for 2. Lays off that high fastball. Archer still got pretty good velocity on his heater. Last pitch was 96.
He pitched for WBC for the U.S., didn't he?
He was in the first round, and then they said, we won't need you in the second round, and he came back to the Rays. I think Archer got a glove on that. A hot shot back to the mound, and I don't know if it hit him in an awkward spot, but I think he got a glove on it before it hit him. Kevin Pillar stayed on that pitch and hit it right back to the mound.
Yeah, he's going to have to walk back to the mound because that's frightening. I think you're right. I think it got leather. I don't think it got his face. He got the glove up just in time just to knock it down. Recovers, flips it over to Weeks to record the out, and that's when you just take your time and just walk back. Say, that was close. We told you how close you are when once you release the ball and how fast that thing comes back at you. That's a frightening thought. That one had face written all over it, but he got his glove up to knock it down.
Tonight, we've been told that Wade Miley got hit on back-to-back line drives and was taken out of the game, and that's the perils of being the pitcher. You start out 60 feet 6 inches away from home plate, and you end up about 8 feet closer when you deliver the ball.
And it comes off of that turf. It's almost like it picks up speed.
The two batters that hit Wade Miley, Jose Abreu of the White Sox, had a line drive off of Miley that went out to right field, and then Avisail Garcia hit another one that deflected off the pitcher and went to the second baseman.
It couldn't be those little guys, those little punch and Judy guys. It's got to be the middle of the lineup. Two of the biggest guys that the White Sox have to offer, huh? Wow.
So Bautista with the count in his favor. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs. We're in the 6th. Chris Sale has struck out 10, but Blue Jays just down by 2.
Archer asking if that ball was low. Thought he slipped one by Bautista. Now Jose can sit on that one pitch and see if you can knock one in the seats. 31 career home runs versus Tampa.
He was going for 32 with that swing. Now it's a full count, 2 outs. Third time through the order. This is the challenge of being a starting pitcher. I don't care how good your stuff is. Hitters get a chance to see you for the third time. They can play catch up. That's where that changeup is going to come into play for Archer.
That's what I think. It's tough to get by with 2 pitches, but he's got 2 exceptional pitches. If you could work that thing in there, that changeup just a little, give something else for the hitters to think about.
Fastball at the knees. 11 strikeouts for Archer. Bautista strikes out for a 3rd time tonight. Archer's had his fastball in great spots. This time He gets the fastball right at the bottom of the zone for strike 3.
Seattle, Atlanta from May 8th to 16th. Then at the end of the month, their old nemesis, Texas, comes to town for a 3-game set. Joey Votto and the Reds, May 29th to 31st. Tickets at BlueJays.com. Meanwhile, Aaron Sanchez threw a side session yesterday off a mound. The plan is for him to do another tomorrow if all goes well with his finger, which is continuing to heal. The Blue Jays want to get him into a minor league start next week. And if all goes well, he could be on track to pitch against the Mariners guys next weekend.
That would be great news, Arash, for sure, but it sounds like Aaron's going to stay down here in Florida and try to get a game in. The minor league complex. This has popped up behind home plate. Russell Martin gives it a look, and it's over the screen out of play.
Just over the screen, right in the first row.
Looking ahead to Monday, Trevor Bauer is the scheduled pitcher against the Blue Jays. Marcus Stroman will make that start on Monday. And TBA for the Blue Jays on Tuesday. Carlos Carrasco will start for the Indians. Danny Salazar will start on Wednesday against Liriano. Another pop-up. This one's playable. Smoke coming down. He calls for it and almost overran it. But he's got that big frame where he's able to reach back over and make the catch. But he had a big head of steam coming down to help out Russell.
And he called off Russell Martin in plenty of time, and Russell peeled out of the way. Smokey came down that line quickly and then has to reach back. Remember, the ball, it's got that backspin on it, and it always goes back towards the field. Smokey finds that first hand and makes the play.
Back to the top of the order. Tim Beckham had a double in the fourth. Goes after the first pitch and hits it to right. Bautista running into quarter at the wall, makes the catch. Beckham has been hitting the long ball. He had a 2-homer game yesterday. Made a bid for an opposite field home run. 2 away. Look at this new face. Colby Rasmus just been activated for the first time this season. He had off-season hip surgery. Kevin Kiermaier got hit by a pitch in the fourth. So Rasmus is up now to face the right-hander, Danny Barnes.
And if you know Kevin Kiermaier, you hope that he is okay. But looked a lot like when Souza got hit by Biagini. Souza came out of the game against the Blue Jays early, missed a day, and then got back in the lineup. Kiermaier got hit basically in the same spot, right in the back of the hand. So you hope that he is okay.
Colby Rasmus is now 30 years old. He spent 4 years with the Blue Jays. Came over in a midseason trade in 2011. He lifts this one in the air. Kevin Pillar stays with it, comes in, makes the catch. The pinch hitter Rasmus is retired. Danny Barnes has retired all 7 men he's faced. St. Petersburg, game 1 of a 3-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Chris Archer, 11 strikeouts, no walks, 96 pitches through 6 innings of work. Kobe Rasmus moves into left field as Peter Borges moves from left to center. Kevin Kiermaier out of the game. Rasmus pinch hit for him. Chris Archer trying to get 7 innings again in this start. Boy, he buries that slider, and that's a protection mode for Norris. That ball hit about 3 feet in front of home. Chase Whitley loosening up for Tampa Bay.
You know, nobody knows their pitching staff better than the manager. Kevin Cass and Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, recognized something in Archer, that he has thrown a lot of big pitches tonight. It's only a 2-run game. It's only a 2-run game. Seems like the Blue Jays have been out of this and really haven't had a shot. But they must see something in Archer that tells them that he might be wearing down.
I think what they see is what we showed a minute ago, the 3rd time through the order. The batting average, how it jumps up over 350. And there's some concern with Morales on deck. He absolutely wears out Archer. If Martin can get on, Morales would represent the tying run.
That makes this a big at bat, doesn't it? For Russell, you know he's going to see his share of pitches.
3-1. There's Morales. He doubled and scored in the 5th. A 3-1 slider is fouled back. But that really makes sense why Whitley is cranking it up, and he's cranking it up in a hurry. This game would change direction if Russell were to get on, I believe.
Do you let him face him if he gets on?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But we will see.
Well, he's on. Now we'll see what Kevin Cash has on his mind. Morales 1 for 2. He struck out in the second, doubled in the fifth. Looks like they're going to let him work to Morales.
Well, he knows how big this pitch is because he knows who's on deck. So when he walked him, you can see Archer upset with himself. It's just his first walk of the night.
First walk, 11 strikeouts, but Morales can tie it up. His double in the fifth, his 14th career hit in 24 at-bats. And I don't care how you're swinging at the time, when you face somebody that you put up those kinds of numbers against, you feel pretty confident.
Yeah, you're confident, comfortable at the plate. You feel like you can hit everything, whatever he decides to throw. He might empty his tank right here, knowing how important this at-bat is. Change.
One of the few changeups we've seen him throw. Ball and a strike to Morales. Nobody out. That's a Martin with the leadoff walk. He's at first. Morales has 5 doubles and 2 home runs against Archer. Ball gets away, but Martin will stay put.
If he hangs him that breaking ball, he's going to hit one hard again. Last time up, he had a double to left center field against that breaking ball, that slider. And it looks like he's gearing up for it.
7 of his 14 hits against Archer have been extra base hits. You could get him right back into the game. And good get Archer out of the game.
Yep. Big pitch.
3-1. Swing and a drive. Deep fly ball to right. Souza looking up. And it comes down way back in the seats. Home run number 3 for Morales against Archer. And just like that, he has tied it up.
We told you that Russell Martin at bat was a huge at bat. If he can get on base, now you've got a guy who's been wearing out Chris Archer in his career, and it worked out perfectly for the Blue Jays. And now Kevin Cash is trotting out to the mound.
One batter too late.
Yeah.
Morales 2 for 3 tonight, a double and a 2-run home run. Russell Martin with a huge walk, the first walk issued by Archer. He comes in to score, and we're tied. 5. That's a 600 average against Chris Archer. 5 doubles, and this is his 3rd career home run against Archer.
They wanted that fastball away, and it came right into his swing sweet spot in his swing plane. Tell you, that is a bomb. Looked like it cleared the deck in right field. For Morales, number 15 or number 5 in RBI 16 and 17. Got 15 RBIs before that. They will now face a new pitcher, Chase Whitley, for the 8th time. He has retired the last 17 batters that he has faced.
Dustin Smoke went after that first pitch, and he hits it over the catwalk, but foul. Chris Archer, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. I mentioned he had a 12 strikeout game against the Blue Jays opening day of 2016. The Rays lost that game 5-3.
And for all of that work tonight, a no decision.
First batter he walked was Russell Martin, leading off the 7th, and Martin scored on the home run.
Great effort by Tim Beckham, the shortstop. You got to deal with the bullpen and then the fans. Pretty good effort.
He got over there and ran out of room, and then he kind of fell on top of a young fan that was sitting in that seat. Patted him on the head to make sure he's okay. Disappointing end for Chris Archer. We had talked about 3rd time through the order, and the fact that he was facing Morales, who has put up huge numbers against him.
That home run ends that streak of 7 straight starts against the Blue Jays of 2 earned runs or less. 3 earned runs, 6 innings for Archer, 11 punch outs. 3 earned runs thanks to the guy on the left right there, that big home run.
Morales, 2 of the 4 Blue Jay hits. Smoke hits it to the second baseman. That's the first out of the top of the 7th.
That's actually Evan Longoria, who was playing in the shift. And he's going to make his way back over to third base.
Boy, what a difference in this ball game, and you got to go back to the Danny Barnes situation when he came in the 4th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. He struck out Corey Dickerson to strand the bases loaded, and he retired all 7 batters that he faced.
And he did it efficiently too.
Barnes throwing just 22 pitches to record 7 outs. A couple of strikeouts. What an effort for Danny Barnes, if indeed he is done. He's still looking around saying, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm in good shape.
Just 22 pitches. He has calmed this game down for the Blue Jays.
Steve Pearce is 0 for 2 so far in this game. He hit one right on the button to center field in the 5th that lined out to Kiermaier. Kiermaier has since left the game. Popped up right side. Ricky Weeks in the outfield makes the catch. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. That'd be an interesting return for Edwin Encarnacion, who was such a big part of the Blue Jays' success over the last several years. That home run, his 5th, as Jamie mentioned. He's got his average up over 200 now. But I'm sure a lot of teammates will be happy to see Edwin once again.
Do they cheer him when he comes back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I bet he gets a standing ovation.
Yeah, he will. He was terrific and a great teammate, a great representative for the organization, and a terrific player. Ryan Goins. He struck out twice against Archer. But they got Archer out of the game, and now it's all back to the bullpens. Chase Whitley in the game now against Ryan Goins.
That's 19 in a row that he has retired. He's got a great changeup. Fastball is about 90, 92. But he complements that fastball with a very good change.
Goins behind a ball and 2 strikes. Henry Morales with a 2-run home run. The Jays have tied it up here in the 7th. Chris Archer goes 6 innings plus 2 batters. He's charged with 3 earned runs on 4 hits. He walked just 1 batter and struck out 11.
Leadoff walks.
No matter where you are.
Russell worked that walk, and it just set up the whole inning, didn't it?
High bouncing ball. Robertson plays it from the outfield quickly to first. The Blue Jays have tied it. Morales with his home run. Dominic Leone comes in to start the bottom of the 7th inning in this 3-3 game. Leone making his 12th appearance of the season.
What a job for Danny Barnes. 2 1/3 innings, zeros across the board. Now it's up to Dominic Leone to do the same thing. They got 2 innings out of him a couple of days ago in New York. Gave up a run, had 3 punch outs. Fastball, slider. You can sink it, you can cut it, and get his share of strikeouts.
Evan Longoria takes the first pitch strike from Dominic Leone. Longoria 2 for 2 with a walk. He doubled and singled against Liriano and then walked in the 4th. Leone, as we mentioned, making his 12th appearance. He's pitched a total of 13 and the 3rd innings and allowed 13 hits. The bullpen now want to continue to carry that momentum that Danny Barnes has built for them, and Longoria's got his 3rd hit of the game. Well, he stayed on that pitch and just stroked it into right field. He has been on base all 4 times he's come to the plate.
He came in a dreadful little bit of a slump. But you wouldn't know it by watching this. That's plate coverage, folks. Slider down and away. Doesn't try and do too much with it. Just serve it into right field. Longoria back at third base tonight. First time since the Jays played him last Sunday.
He hit that like he knew it was coming. That's how good he is right now. He's had quite a night. 2 singles, a double, and a walk. Steven Souza Jr. He's walked 3 times tonight. All of those walks came against Liriano. His walk in the 4th forced in a run, and that was the last batter that Liriano faced tonight. But he's off the hook. Blue Jays tied it up thanks to Kendrys Morales. Home run number 5 for Morales. Ground ball. Coughlin bobbles. Can't find the handle. That's a double play ball.
Just got a little bit too quick. Yes, that was a double play ball because his momentum was taking him towards the bag. It's a catch and it's a flip. And it's a double play, but now, because of the boot, his 4th of the season, Blue Jays are going to have to get out of a first and second, nobody out. That is unfortunate right there.
So Coughlin, he knows he had a chance to get Dominic out of a jam after that leadoff single, but now John Gibbons has gone to the mound. He'll make another pitching change with the left-hander Corey Dickerson scheduled to bat. Aaron Loup will come into the game.
Earlier in April, and this afternoon he spent about 15 minutes taking ground balls at third base. He said the turf and the infield here is not as bouncy as Toronto. He says at Rogers Center, that second op has so much topspin, he finds it jumps up to his chest. He wasn't anticipating the bounce being so high here, but guys, you saw it being handcuffed. He said the bounce is low there, but not in that scenario with the costly error.
Yeah, it was a costly error, and he'll tell you he should have turned 2 on that ball, and that would have gotten Leon out of a tough situation. Aaron Loup now in to face Corey Dickerson. 11th game for Loup. Dickerson 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Ground ball. Goins has but 1 play, and that's to first, and it's not in time. Dickerson hustling out of the box. Beat it at first base, at least for the time being. David Rackley, the first base umpire, waved him safe. Blue Jays, I'm sure, going to have a look at the replay.
Yeah, they're going to look at it and they're going to ask for a replay because it sounded like and it looked like They had him over there at first base. He'd be waiting to hear. He got sawed off, jammed. Goins comes in, makes a strong throw. You tell me when that ball hits the leather.
There's the stretch by Smoke, and boy, I tell you, that's pretty close on that angle.
Yeah, they're going to look at it, and I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn that.
We're going to have another look at that, and watch the stretch by Smoke as Dickerson stretches for the bag, and I think he's on the base before the ball gets in his glove. I think Blue Jays are going to lose this one. If that's the case, the call on the field stands. It'll be bases loaded and nobody out.
There's just not enough evidence that says he definitively, that ball, all it has to do is touch the leather inside the glove now. It doesn't have to get into the pocket. The glove doesn't have to close. It just has to touch the leather, and that is a quick. That's a quick one. Infield single.
Yeah, that was the only play Goins had. He knew it. He didn't hesitate. The ball was just a broken bat single to the shortstop, and now Blue Jays are in all sorts of trouble. Nobody out. Bases loaded, and Ricky Weeks Jr. He's 0 for 3 to this point. Longoria's singled. He's now at third. Souza reached on the air by the third baseman Conklin, and Corey Dickerson an infield hit. Neil Ramirez on the left. He's the newest Blue Jay. He's warming up along with Ryan Tepera. In relief of Dominic Leone, Danny Barnes was perfect. He retired 7 in a row, all 7 batters he faced, and threw just 22 pitches.
Now you got a couple of right-handers up in Weeks and Robertson.
Good changeup, big strikeout for Luke. It's the first out of the inning.
Boy, what a pitch. You saw that earned run average from Aaron, 0.84. And he throws a changeup and gets a big strikeout. Now a ground ball, and the Blue Jays can get out of this.
1 out. Daniel Robertson homered in the 4th. With the first of back-to-back home runs by the Rays in the 4th inning against Liriano.
Need an Adam ball right here. Ball right at one of the infielders.
Danny Barnes got out of a bases loaded 2-out situation in the 4th. See if Luke can do the same here in the 7th. Ground ball, step on a home, go to first, not in time. Smoke stepped on the bag for the out, but by the time he got it home, the momentum took him toward the base. He may have been better off just going home and getting that lead runner and saving a run.
Well, what it did by stepping on the base, it took away the force play at the plate. So this was going to have to be a tag play by Russell Martin. There's the touch, the throw, and he's going to have to catch it and tag the runner, and there's no way he was going to do that.
Now, I think he's better off going home right off the bat. It's a tie game in the 7th inning. Longoria's not running well. We talk about his foot problem, and the Rays take the lead with a ground ball to the first baseman. It's an RBI for Robertson, his 2nd of the night. Daniel Norris, he homered in the 4th.
He's got a retired Derek Norris right here. Leave those runners sitting out there in scoring position.
Ball and a strike to the Rays catcher. Tampa Bay has a 4-3 lead. They've out-hit the Blue Jays 7-4. And they've stranded 8. They have plenty of opportunities to add to this total. Norris is late on that fastball.
Norris has had some success against Aaron in his career. He's faced him 5 times. There you go. There are the numbers. 3 knocks. He's got to retire him here. This is where you have, okay, in the back of my mind, when I get the 2 strikes in a tough situation, what pitch am I going to use to get out a tough hitter? Can he sweep that breaking ball against him? He tries to go hard inside with a fastball.
Yeah, trying to crowd him with that fastball. 2-2 now. Evan Longoria started it. He singled to right. Steven Souza Jr. hit what looked like a double play ball. Coughlin made an error on it. All hands were safe. And then Dickerson hits an infield single. Fly ball into right. Bautista calls for it, and that'll end the inning. But Tampa Bay takes the lead. Evan Longoria has been on base 4 times tonight. 3 hits and a walk, and he scores the go-ahead run on a ground ball to the first baseman.
Presented by the rugged Honda Pioneer Off-Road family. Your adventure begins here.
Tropicana Field on a Friday night has been a good ball game, but Tampa Bay has taken the lead here after the Blue Jays tied it in the top of the 7th. Then Robertson grounds out to first base. Smoke stepped on the bag for the out, but by the time he threw the ball to home, it was too late, and Evan Longoria stood safely across with the go-ahead run. So Blue Jays got to play catch-up once again. 8-9-1 for the Jays. Travis goes after the first pitch and hits it high and deep to center. Borges is back at the wall, can't make the play. Travis is headed around second. He'll stop there. Devin Travis with a leadoff double. His 5th double of the season.
Peter Borges normally makes that play in center field. He's a gifted outfielder. Don't know if he mistimed his leap or if it went off of his glove, but he normally makes that play, but the Blue Jays will take it. Ball is hit hard by Devin Travis to right center field. Here comes Borges, checks where he is one more time, and it's just off his glove. He mistimed his jump, and he just missed it.
He jumped and hit on the heel of his glove. Very catchable ball that goes off his glove, and that's a break for the Blue Jays. Chris Coughlin He squares the bunt and takes ball one. Coghlan struck out twice against Archer. 4-3 ball game. Travis with the leadoff double. Ball two. The Blue Jays twice have had their leadoff hitter come around to score. In the 5th, Morales doubled and scored on Smoke's single. In the 7th, Martin walked and scored on Morales' home run.
I'd take the bunt off right here. I'd let him swing away.
On the road.
You're on the road. You don't want to play for the tie.
He got the green light. Good call, Tabby. I agree with you. You know, you give an out away. Yeah, you might tie it up, but they're still going to hit last.
Yeah, they hit last, and you've got the infield moving all over the place after those first 2 pitches. He can pull the ball by Ricky Weeks, the first baseman, who is in on the grass. That's him over there at first base. He can get one and pull it by him and change places with Devin Travis.
Checked his swing. 3-1 on Coghlan. Leadoff man Kevin Pillar is on deck.
Now, if he gets on, then you might be thinking about bunting. But we'll see. He's got to get on base first.
3-1 pitch. Swinging a drive deep to right. Souza's on the run. He's at the track, and that ball is caught by Souza. Travis tags, and he moves to third. Steven Souza Jr. made a heck of a run and a catch to deny Chris Coghlan, but he hit it deep enough to move Travis from second to third.
That reminds me of the play that Souza made back at Rogers Center against Jose Bautista when he went into right center field. I didn't think he had a shot at all catching that ball, but he never gave up. He plays the game hard, and he runs that thing down and then gets the ball back in.
Chase Whitley is out. Travis is at third with 1 out. Jumbo Diaz coming into the ball game. The Blue Jays trail by a run. Pillar will be the hitter. Canada's #1 rated travel rewards card.
What a play by Steven Souza in the outfield. You don't even see him in your picture. This ball is smoked into the gap, and now here comes Souza. Out of nowhere, reaches up, pulls it in, and then fires the ball back in to keep Travis, who was rounding third base, trying to score from second on a long fly ball. Now new pitcher Jumbo Diaz into the ball game.
Diaz making his 4th appearance against the Blue Jays. Infield is drawn in for Kevin Pillar.
So you say, okay, well, why are you bringing in Jumbo Diaz? Chase Whitley was fine. He really gave up just that double that on a ball that should have been caught. You bring him in because you need a strikeout. Got a better slider. A little bit tougher on right-handers. Righty's hitting just 194 against them. They need a strikeout. He's got a very good slider.
High pop-up over near the bullpen and back behind the Blue Jays bullpen.
There it is.
And that ball hit the catwalk, and it took a while to come down. And that allowed the kids down there to make the play on him.
Yeah, you didn't see it for a second there, and all of a sudden it came out of the catwalk. And he loves that, young man.
Everybody's looking. It's up there. It's up there. It's up there. Here it comes. And it lands softly, and that young fan made a nice play. That's awesome. 0-2. Pillar needs to put this ball in play. And he does. He covers that outside heater.
Infield in. If you are the runner, Devin Travis, you got to make this ball go through. I don't think you take any chances right here running the contact play with the RBI guy on deck. You make it through. If you're Kevin Pillar, you're thinking about getting it into the outfield.
Base hit past Longoria. Travis comes in to score. Pillar is headed for second. Here's the throw from Rasmus. Not in time. Kevin Pillar, not only does he tie it up, but he gets into scoring position.
Wow. What an at-bat. He knew he was going to get a slider from Jumbo Diaz. He got 3 of them. And that third one, he hung in the middle of the plate. And with the infield in, you don't have to hit it sharply. It gets by there quickly. There's a hanging breaking ball right past Longoria, the Gold Glover. No chance for him to get that. And I was watching Pillar come out of the box, and he was thinking double all the way. He turned it on around first base. He knows he's got to hustle. Rasmus has a good arm. And another double for Pillar. 2
hits tonight. He's climbing up the leaderboard in the hits department. 37 hits for Pillar. Bautista takes a strike. Well, the Blue Jays, they keep hanging in there. Devin Travis with the leadoff double. Coughlin get the fly ball to advance Travis, but Pillar cashes him in with a double. Bautista struck out 3 times against Chris Archer. Now he's got a chance to give the Blue Jays the lead. 0-2. Another slider here.
That's his best pitch. That's why they have him in the game.
Bautista called out on strikes. Another slider, top of the zone. It's the 3rd time Bautista has had 4 strikeouts in a game this season.
That was a slider that locked up Jose. He was thinking fastball, and it bends. It's right there. Slider freezes him.
Russell Martin hitting with 2 outs. Kevin Pillar, that's double his 9th of the season. The RBI gives him 9 ribbies. You would think after seeing Archer's wicked slider all night long that this might not be a bad matchup for the Blue Jays.
Throws a ton of sliders. I think they're just not real familiar with Jumbo Diaz. He pitched at Cincinnati, so I know all about him. He loves that slider.
So fouled out that fastball. It's 1-2 now to the Blue Jays catcher. Russell got the leadoff walk into 7th. That set the table for Kendrys Morales. who hit the 2-run game-tying home run at the time. Morales with a double and a 2-run home run tonight. This seems like standard operating procedure for the Blue Jays and the Rays.
Isn't this typical? Right down to the wire.
Ball gets away, and Pilar's going to go to third.
And normally a one-run game. It'll go down as a wild pitch as he bounced that slider. Norris couldn't block this one and keep it close to him. And it was Russell who got that game winner. The last time these two teams faced each other. Remember that single down the right field line on a slider?
Down and away. No swing. Martin will walk for a second time. That'll bring Morales to the plate. Drive of the game brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
And who else can it be but Kendrys Morales tonight? 3-1 fastball. And Chris Archer's going to leave this game with a no decision thanks to tonight's drive of the game from Kendrys Morales as he gets all of this one to right field, number 5 on the season, over the stands in right field. Our drive of the game was a bomb of the game.
He doubled and scored in the 5th, at that 2-run homer in the 7th. Runners at the corners for the Blue Jays. They've scored a run here in the 8th to tie it. It's a 4-4 game. Blue Jays looking for their 10th win of the season.
Kevin Pillar can come down that third base line because Longoria is way off the line. You can anticipate a breaking ball in the dirt for as many sliders as he throws.
.98 upstairs. 1-2 on Morales. Justin Marks was called up today, loosening up in a raised pin. 2-2 to Morales. We have seen so many of these games down here when the Blue Jays play at Tropicana Field. Both teams go back and forth. Highly contested. Kevin Cash and the Rays. The Rays have stranded 10. Blue Jays bullpen doing a pretty good job of getting out of trouble late.
Blue Jays didn't have much to show early in this game. They've only left one runner on base.
Swinging a drive deep to right. He's done it again. Get out of here, boy. Morales with a 3-run home run. Have a night, Kendrys.
And they're not going to leave one on this inning, thanks to Kendrys Morales. He is going to clear the bases with one more mighty swing. Tried to slip a fastball by him, and the big man was waiting for it.
Morales hit a grand slam here early in the season, batting right-handed. Tonight he's had a 5 RBI game.
Looks like Carrera's going to come into the ball game. That's DeMarlo Hale going down to get Carrera. Tell him to get loose. Kendrys Morales, thanks to him, the Blue Jays have the lead now, 7-4.
His 18th multi-home run game of his career, and it comes at a great time for the Blue Jays. A beautiful swing from Morales.
They wanted to keep that fastball away, and it came over the middle of the plate. His timing has been beautiful tonight.
Diaz is out of the game. Justin Marks comes in. Smoke will back. Blue Jays have the lead. Multi-home run game of his career. He's driven in 5, and he had a big night.
What a thing of beauty. That ball right over the middle of the plate, and he knows it. He's hit a few in his career. He knows what they feel like, and that's a good one. A good feeling as he gets all of it. Extension and liftoff. Second home run tonight, 6 on the season. That gives him now 20 RBIs on the year. Justin Marks into the ball game.
Smoke goes after the first pitch. This one's gonna go. Get up, ball. Get up and gone. Justin Smoke goes back-to-back with Morales, his 5th of the season.
Blue Jays starting to flex their muscles against the bullpen of the Rays. Home run number 5 on the year for Smoke from the right side. He is ready. On that first pitch, Marks just called up today. This is only his 6th big league game. He's 29 years old. Said, you know what, I'm going to throw a little fastball over the middle of the plate to get ahead, strike 1, and Smoke got all of it.
Smoke's been very aggressive, especially batting from the right side, swinging a lot of first pitches. And he didn't waste any time. His 5th home run of the season. He's driven in a pair tonight. He has 15 RBIs.
Here's that get me over fastball. BP, see you later. Last time they beat the Rays, they scored 3 runs in the 8th inning to beat Chris Archer. And they've scored 5 in the 8th tonight.
Pierce grounds out the Blue Jays. A big 2-homer inning, and they have taken the lead here in Tampa Bay. Now time for an update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. makes his 15th appearance of the season. Takes over for Aaron Loup, who did a good job. Loup came into the ball game and pitched out of a tough situation.
And Joe Smith will take over the 8th inning now for the Blue Jays as they take the lead with 5 runs in the 8th inning. A couple other defensive changes for the Blue Jays into the game. At third base, Darwin Barney. He will take over for Chris Coughlin. In the last change, Ezekiel Carrera picks up his glove and heads out to left field. He will take the place of Steve Pearce in left field. Now that the Blue Jays have the lead, they want to put their best defensive team on the field.
8-4 Blue Jays. 8 runs ties the most this season. They have done it 3 times now. Scored 8 against the Rays right here on April 7th in St. Pete, and then on the 21st against the Angels. So 8 runs in the offense starting to come around a little bit.
7 of those runs in the last 2 innings, thanks to the home run ball.
Number 9 hitter Peter Borges. And he made a great point. Peter Borges catches that ball. It's a totally different inning. That ball that went off his glove.
I think
Travis
so.
hit it. Yep.
I think so. Whitley had been cruising. That was the leadoff batter. He makes that catch. And he faces Coughlin after that with nobody on base, but now he's in the stretch. And the Blue Jays took advantage of a mistake. Again, that's a catchable ball.
Borges chops it foul. The bullpen has done a good job here tonight. Barnes Leone, he gave up a run. It was an unearned run. Aaron Loup in the inning. He gave up a hit but pitched out of a second and third situation. Got out of it. And now Joe Smith. Bottom of the 8th, 8-4 Blue Jays. And Borges strikes out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We are at Tropicana Field. Buck Martinez, Pat Tabler, along with Arash Madani. And the Blue Jays have gotten the bats going a bit. 8 runs on 8 hits tonight.
Makes the job a little bit easier, doesn't it? If you're the manager, when you got some guys hitting home runs, scoring you some runs, it sets up your bullpen now late in the game. Smith in the 8th, Osuna in the 9th.
Tim Beckham, 1 for 4. He scored a run in the 4th. Joe Smith, a couple of strikeouts. Back-to-back strikeouts to start his outing.
He's got to be tough on right-handers.
Kendrys Morales with 2 home runs tonight. He becomes the first player in Jays history with a 2 home run, 5 RBI game in a game here at Tropicana Field. And there have been many close games, but no Blue Jays hitter has ever had a 2 homer, 5 RBI game here playing against the Rays in St. Pete. Very timely hitting as well.
Yeah. They needed every one of them. Every one of those RBIs.
Kobe Rasmus, a ball and a strike. Rasmus entered the ball game as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, batting for Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier was hit by a pitch in the 4th. We haven't been given any notice as to whether or not he left because of that injury or it was just a matter of lefty on righty.
You know, for him to leave a game, I'm sure he's hurting. That was a Liriano fastball right off his hand.
Rasmus strikes out. Joe Smith strikes out the side in the 8th. Makes quick work of the Rays. Will go to the 9th. The Blue Jays have the lead. Blue Jays have an 8-4 lead. They've scored 8 runs on 8 hits tonight. In the last 3 games since they've turned the calendar over to May, the bats have come alive. Hits per game, over 10 hits per game.
Slugging percentage, starting to get extra base hits, starting to hit the long ball. That'll get you more runs. When you get more runs, you win more ball games. Blue Jays at it again tonight. They got a couple of home runs from Morales. They got a home run from Smoke. Kendrys Morales, when he hits in the middle of the lineup, it's a lot like Edwin Encarnacion. He's going to get a lot of opportunities because there's going to be a lot of guys on base for him.
Kendrys Morales, over the last 2 seasons coming into this year, was second in RBIs by a DH, second only to David Ortiz. Last 2 years, 183 RBIs compared to Ortiz 225, but he was second in production from the DH spot.
And if you look into those numbers, Morales didn't have half the opportunities that some of those other RBI guys had. He made the most of his RBI opportunity. There weren't a lot of men on base for him.
Well, if this Blue Jays offense gets rolling the way we think it can, he'll have plenty of opportunities to drive in runs. Brian Goins takes a walk.
There's another bat that would help hit guys on base in front of him.
Absolutely. Get Josh Donaldson back, get Troy Tulowitzki back. This looks like a totally different lineup. Get Smoke going a bit. Morales is on a roll. Kevin Pillar is doing a terrific job at the top of the order, and Devin Travis is starting to come around.
Starting to hit the ball hard the other way.
Justin Marks came in to face Justin Smoke, and Smokey took him deep on the first pitch he saw. And then Pierce grounded out the end of the inning. Now Goins leads off with the walk. Just Donaldson and Tulowitzki back on the bench makes it a better team.
Makes it
look
look
much better when they're playing.
Yeah, I'll take them play, but I like them right there. That means they're getting close.
Two and one to Devin Travis. Here's this one to left. Rasmus comes and makes a chest-high catch from left field. Devin hit it hard.
That's always a good sign when you start to see guys hit line drives into the outfield. It's just a matter of time before they start finding gaps, finding base hits.
Darwin Barney batting for the first time, came into the game as a defensive replacement at third. We shouldn't forget about Chris Coughlin's night. He went 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, but the flyout he hit in the 8th inning moved Devin Travis from second to third, advanced the runner over, and that really put the pressure on the Rays. So he had that one good at bat tonight that contributed to that 5-run inning.
Yeah, brought the infield in, and that allowed Pilar to drill a ball by Longoria, really set up the whole inning. Devin Travis was on second base after he doubled with a gap in right center.
Out. Darwin batting .308. Done a nice job. He's got 5 RBIs, 16 hits in 52 at bats. May have caught the catcher on his follow through. Jason Grilli on the left, Roberto Osuna on the right. Interesting they would have them both up, but Grilli, I'm sure, would like to get an inning, get something sorted out. Happy Cinco de Mayo to Roberto Osuna.
Yeah, I think if the Blue Jays score a run or two here, they'd sit Osuna down and let Jason finish it up.
Barney strikes out. 2 away. Here comes Kevin Pilar. Kevin tied it up with a double in the 8th. His last time up, he's 2 for 4. Average at .308.
And he gets a lefty. He's been raking lefties this year. .357 against left-handed pitching. The tendency is for a right-hander, when you finally get a lefty, you start opening up a little bit because that breaking ball is going to be coming to you. Start to open up just a little bit to try and pull the ball to left field. It's where you really have to stay disciplined and stay with your game plan.
Mark drops that curveball in there for a strike. 0-2. Base hit, 3rd hit of the night for Pilar. Tried to trick him again with that hook, and he was all over it. Kevin Pilar, a 3-hit night. That's his 3rd 3-hit night of the season. He's at a 4 for 4 game. His 4 for 4 game also came against Tampa Bay.
He dropped that curveball in there for strike 2, and I was like, don't go back to it. He's seen it. If you go back to it again, he's going to hit it hard. And that's exactly what happened. Just spun that little breaking ball up there, and Pilar picks up the hit.
Kevin is 3 for 5. Cohen's now in scoring position with 2 outs. Bautista's had a rough night at the plate. He has struck out all 4 times he's come to the plate.
All 4 times against a tough, hard-thrown righty. Now he gets a lefty.
1-2. Drive to left. Rasmus is over. Makes a running catch, and the inning is over. So we'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Blue Jays have a 4-run lead. They lead it 8-4. Looks like Osuna is going to come into the game.
Now, live stream the NHL, MLB, NBA, and more. To sign up and get 7 days free, visit snnow.ca. Buck?
Thank you very much, Arash. We are in the bottom of the 9th, and Roberto Osuna's in. This is not a save situation. The Blue Jays have a 4-run lead, but Osuna hasn't pitched much lately. Struck out the side Wednesday in the 9th inning, and that's the first time he's pitched since the 30th of April, so he needs some work, and this will be his 10th appearance.
That was a nice little tune-up, wasn't it? Punched out the side in New York. Osuna is the 6th pitcher for the Blue Jays tonight, covering 9 innings. 5th reliever. They've only given up 2 hits tonight.
Longoria, he had a great night at the plate. He hits another ball hard, but this one's right to Bautista. So Longoria is 3 for 4 with a walk. First time he's been retired tonight.
Yeah, this is where they've had a lot of problems tonight. Longoria, Souza, that's the first time the Blue Jays have been able to get either one of them out tonight.
And you know, that's a lot of the things that managers have to deal with is they're thinking about, okay, well, it's not a save situation, and I'd like to save him, but boy, if these 2 guys get on again, and we have seen it all too often here in St. Pete. Ray's coming back in the 9th inning.
Yes, way too many times over the years. So John Gibbons says, I'm going to bring in my closer, and I'm going to ask my 3rd baseman, are you almost ready?
Yeah. When are you going to play again?
Are you getting close?
We need you out there, you know. You're a pretty good player. We need you to play.
That's frustrating for those kind of injuries, aren't they? Just have to wait till they heal.
Yep. You know, he was down here the first time the Blue Jays were here, and that's when he aggravated that calf muscle. He'd been dealing with it all spring long, and they probably should have put him on a deal then. So he re-injured it, and now we have to wait further. But boy, oh boy, this team looks a lot different with Tulowitzki and Donaldson in the lineup. Ball and a strike to see Steven Souza Jr. He walked 3 times and reached on an error. His walk in the 4th forced in a run, so he picks up an RBI, his 19th of the season.
Well, what you're hoping for, if you're the Blue Jays, you're hoping for a quick inning from Osuna, because again, you might need him tomorrow afternoon when the Jays play at 4 o'clock. So you're hoping for a quick inning here. Not a lot of pitches.
This ball's in play. Smoke, the first baseman, in foul ground, makes the catch. 2 away. As a reminder, on Sportsnet, Oilers and Ducks series tied at 2-2. It's on now, so check it out. Lots of great hockey action on Sportsnet and all the different channels, so make sure you check the listings. Make sure you don't miss any of these great Stanley Cup playoff games. 2 outs now. Corey Dickerson had an infield hit in the 7th. Osuna's getting his fastball back.
And is using that fastball a little bit more.
He knew it wasn't there early in the season. Remember, he started the season on the DL, and now his fastball is routinely at 95.
And he puts it in a good spot, too. That's what's impressive about Osuna. Yeah, he's got the big arm, mid-90s fastball, but he throws it in good spots.
Marco Estrada, Jake Odorizzi tomorrow afternoon, 4:10 start time. It's outside. 1-2. Pre-game show with Jamie and Greg at 3:30 Eastern time. Make sure you check that out. We'll be back on Sunday for the series finale. Joe Biagini will make that start for the Blue Jays. Here's the 1-2. He checked his swing. Alex Cobb will start for the Rays on Sunday against Biagini. If this score stands up, the Blue Jays will even the season series at 4 games apiece. That's the ball game. Roberto Osuna. Not a save, but it was good to see him bringing that heat once again. His fastball is back. Big night for the offense. Star of the game, of course, Kendrys Morales. 2-homer game, 5 RBIs.
Yeah, you can't forget what the bullpen did after Liriano just threw 3 2/3 innings. The bullpen has to finish it up. They give up 2 hits in 1 unearned run. And the Blue Jays, they held it right there so the offense could come back and win the ball.